A historic tour here in Sri Lanka. New Zealand under 85kg side taking on Sri Lanka Rugby here at Nittawela. It's going to be a cracker-lacking affair here as we ready to welcome the Kiwis down here in Sri Lanka. It has been long time in the making as we come into the hub here at the hill capital. Nittawela Stadium, I can tell you, is brimming. It's back to capacity here at Nittawela as we look at a historic game to be played in our own shores. Coming to you live from the hill capital of Kandy as the crowds keep pouring in, and I do not know for how long they will allow them to come in because it's already packed. A legacy and a tradition of 146 years for the Tuskers, and a very, very proud rugby playing nation and a leader in the rugby world. New Zealand under 85 team is here in Sri Lanka. It's going to be an interesting one, how these teams will fare up. The weather, of course, will play a massive role. It's very humid currently, and currently feels like it's around 32 to 33 degrees here in Nittawela. Slightly cloudy, and we really do hope the weather gods will hold up and there will not be any rain that will disrupt the game. Predictions looking at the two sides are that we will have a good running game of rugby, and we will be able to try and this historic tour here in Sri Lanka will consist of 2 games and will be played for an absolute great of world rugby. Sri Lanka versus New Zealand under 85, first game happening here today at Nittawela shortly, with the second game set to take place on the 10th at Race Course Grounds. That will be at 6:30 p.m. under lights. Kiwis who are down here going through their final phases will want to make sure that they keep put up a statement. The crowd, the families of the players who are touring, having an absolute great time here. Met some of them just prior to the game walking up to the grounds, and they were amazed at the reception that they received here in Sri Lanka. The New Zealand under 85 on their debut tour taking on Sri Lanka. The Sri Lanka team arrived at the stadium. Some preparation. And all of them will be wanting to make sure that they put up a statement. Well, in the middle, we have Shana Kamarasingham, my co-commentator, who's had a word with, I beg your pardon, Reshwan, who had a chat with the Sri Lankan coach. Let's see what he had to say about today's game.
especially the one here in Nittawela?
After the Malaysia match, we got about 5 days train. We have played a trial and selected we want to give the second string also a chance. Today we are playing not the full strength, the second strength, because we need to develop we need to give a chance to the second string. We are getting another 3 games in future. Then Dubai, UAE, South Korea, and Hong Kong. This game is more exposure for our boys, and it's a great opportunity for our boys.
It's how is the occasion so far? New Zealand team playing in Ireland. What do you think about it?
Hope that they'll play fast rugby. Under 85 kg means all the front row forwards also will run. Therefore, we have made another setup of a plan. It's a maybe a very fast game, and that the referees also at the referees meeting he said that he is also want to maintain the continuity, and therefore we are also playing. We are going to match them.
All the best, sir.
Thank you very much.
Well, very interesting strategy from Sri Lankan coach Sanath Marish, who opted and he didn't mince his words, who opted to give an opportunity to some of the second string players of his squad and to try out. The Kiwis, on the other hand, will want to make sure that they put their best foot forward. They've absolutely loved the hospitality that was offered to them at Kandy missed by Cinnamon, which is just a hop, step and a jump away. However, it would have felt like they had to travel 10-20 kilometers because the ground was packed when they arrived. And I have finally, through the trouble, we have my two co-commentators joining me in the com box as well. But before that, before I say hi to them, we'll cross over to interesting chat with one of the coaches from the New Zealand setup.
Moments before kick-off here in the first test match between the New Zealand under-25s and the Sri Lanka team. It's loud out here, the atmosphere is really pumping, so are the speakers, and I've got the assistant forwards coach Will Henry with me to tell us what he thinks of what's been going on so far and what we can expect in the next 80 minutes. Will, how's your first exposure to Sri Lanka and Kandy been?
Yeah, look, it's been absolutely amazing. The people have been really welcoming. Hospitality has been unreal, so we've been really well looked after, and I guess for us it's just been about trying to acclimatise to, I guess, navigating our way around in the heat so far. In terms of the 80 minutes, look, we're going to try and play with speed, with skill, and be really fearless, just like our 85s would back in New Zealand.
And how much has this atmosphere, this reception from a rugby crowd in Sri Lanka, not a cricket crowd, how much has this surprised you?
Massively. Coming from New Zealand and not knowing a lot around how they support rugby here, it's amazing. So really well receptive from us, and yeah, just cool to be a part of a great opportunity.
First time that this team has taken the park. It's the first time an under-85 representative team has been flown out of New Zealand. How much of this is historic for you guys also?
Oh, it's massive. Massive that we've got so many people back home backing this great opportunity, and the people here as well. I know the players are absolutely fizzing and ready to go just to give everything they've got. Yeah.
Thanks, Will. All the best, mate.
Thanks a lot. Eh?
It's going to be an absolutely buzzing atmosphere. It's hot out here. It's going to be hot on the field as well. We'll see you later.
Well, Shanak Amarasinghe having a word with the forwards coach of New Zealand under-85, and I finally have the privilege of introducing my two co-commentators, Shanak Amarasinghe, of course, my good buddy who I shared the mic with just yesterday, and all the way from the land of the long white cloud, the Will Henry. A warm welcome to you, and you too, Shanak, to the cop box.
Thanks very much, Sudarshan. It was great to chat to Will Henry a little while ago. And also joining us in the commentary box, New Zealand legend. Been watching him for a long time, most All Black fans here. And very familiar with his commentary on New Zealand rugby. And we are very privileged to have him with us here at Nittawela and down in Colombo as well. Scotty Sumo Stevenson.
Very good afternoon to you both, Shudashana Shanaka. It's great to be here. The scenes here are incredible. The crowd has been coming in all afternoon. It was an absolute struggle to get to the commentary box through the throngs of people. They are still pouring in here to Nittawela, the Kandy Sports Club. The rugby club itself is full. The crowd are expectant, and you can sense that there is a genuine excitement about seeing a team in black here in Sri Lanka, finally, after more than 60 years.
Sumo, I don't know whether this is your first time in Sri Lanka, but are you surprised at the amount of All Black fans and the reception that this New Zealand representative team have got as just a representative of the All Blacks?
Well, it's certainly because of the Sri Lankans that I know and my time with cricket. I know that a lot of Sri Lankan cricketers are big rugby fans as well, so I've been informed of, I guess, the love and the care and the affection for the black jersey here in Sri Lanka. But to see this now in the flesh, my first visit to this beautiful island, and certainly my first time in Kandy, and you can see the scenes from these wonderful aerial pictures. I mean, this isn't just a novelty, this is something that people have been waiting for a very long time. And this New Zealand side is facing a side that just over a week ago absolutely smashed Malaysia, qualified for the Asian Cup. They are 3 wins away from qualifying for a World Cup.
That is indeed the preparation that we are using this New Zealand Under-85 tour for. It's a huge moment for Sri Lanka rugby and indeed Asian rugby, because Japan have an automatic qualifying place. And we'll talk about those permutations a little later as we look at the New Zealand Under-85 lineup. We've got Roland at prop, Nimo at hooker, and Dutoy also at prop. Second row, we've got the Jason Leahy and Tyler Koenig. We've got Josh Burton and Josh Gillett on the flanks, and Pasia Asiata at number 8. Jackson Ephraim's is the number 9. He'll be partnering up with the captain of the team, Jared Percival, at fly half. Ben Megson and Campbell Busby will make up the centre pairing, and in the back 3 we have Ben Scott, Jamie Bedford and Francis Morrison. On the bench, Sia Treby, Harrison Kavanagh, Craig, Cordell Hull, Riley and Swartz.
Couple of changes from for the Sri Lankans from the last game that they play. Vimukta Gamage, Kaushan gets a start. Jayavira in making up that front row. Navin Marasinghe and Tilna Bandar has been entrusted with that lock duties. Both of them very lanky locks. Nilar, Dahan and Tilakaratne. No Karanju Saturanga, so Lahiru Tilakaratne gets a start for him. Rifan and Nigel Ratwate, the tried and tested pairing when it comes to 9-10 has been entrusted with that. In the wings, we have Hamidu Pereira coming in that will add a lot of experience for the Sri Lankans. Jayathu Rajaratne gets his debut call-up, but those centres, Hiranta Pereira, massive experience. Shahid Zumri, keep an eye out for that lad who will be mercurial in that Tuskers jersey for the very first time. Pasito Bandara gets a debut call-up as well in the fullback, and the finishers, Kodagoda, Fernando, Thabit, Pereira, Soisa, De Silva, Jayavikrama and Srinath Surya Bandara.
Srinath Surya Bandara coming back out on his favourite ground, and a ground that he has called home for many years, lifted many championships in, and I'm sure he's going to be on the field when the final whistle is blown. But good to see that coach Sanath Martis is not getting sentimental about this game, Scotty, and he's giving a chance for many of the players who didn't get a chance against Malaysia to run out and make sure that they get some game time.
Well, at least 8 of that squad that took on Malaysia out of this fixture here as they look forward to a couple of weeks' time. And it's not that far for the Sri Lankan side when you think the 14th of June they'll take on South Korea, then on the 22nd, Hong Kong, China, and then on the 4th of July, the UAE. Those are the 3 games, the 3 teams, the 3 nations that stand in the way of Sri Lanka making a Rugby World Cup. And look at this crowd, what a scene it would be, what it would do for rugby in this beautiful island if they were to make it all the way through. You can dream big, can't you?
Certainly can, and this crowd is seeing one of their dreams getting realised. Sumo, this is probably the closest they're going to get to a New Zealand rugby team here up in Nittawela, and many of them will not get closer than that, but it's fantastic for them to have even a small dream realised. We'll come back with a lot more live action after the break.
cricket, horse racing, football ඇතුළු තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රැසක්. stbet.com ලංකාවේ අංක එකේ betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
Munchie wanna know it's savory rasa. Munchie is savory.
හැමෝම ආස onion twist එක Munchie savory onion.
ලස්සන ෆන් ලෝකේ කොත්තුමි සැර විහිදේ කික්කික සිත බ්‍රන්දවා කෙරේ. Five fashion අපේ heat එක වැදේ වටේ hot and spicy කැස්මක් දෙවේ රසේ.
dance එක hit වෙන්නේ move එක set වෙන්නේ
දිව ගැසෙවි දැන්නේ රසේ. කොත්තුමි happening මේ රස්තට උඩ යන්නේ hot and spicy මිසේ වගේ. Prima කොත්තුමි fun තමයි.
Mexican රසට හැපෙන Munchie savory salsa. Cheesy lovers ලට Munchie savory cheese buttons.
boss, I got you some homemade milk toffee. Shall I bring it now? You know, no matter what others say, you are really important to us. I have never seen anyone care about the company as much as you do.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Malaban Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Munchie wanna know it's savory rasa. Munchie is savory.
Radials. The road is yours.
හැමෝම ආස onion twist එක Munchie savory onion.
Hi තාත්තා.
කොහොමද ෂෑම් අද හොඳට ප්ලේ කළාද?
ඇයි සැකද? එහෙම ගෑවුනත් මොකෝ. හේ හේ සෙල්ලම් වැඩ බලන්නකෝ. හේ හේ අද පැල්ලම් වේවුනත් මොකෝ සෙල්ලම් මගේ බලන්නකෝ.
කිසි සැකයක් නෑ. වියලි තද පැල්ලම් වලට නව Surf Excel Matic දැන් SPP තාක්ෂණයෙන් පළමු මැෂින් වොෂ් එකෙන්ම වියලි තද පැල්ලම් ඉවත් කරයි.
Cleanද?
ඇයි සැකද? නව Surf Excel Matic.
Mexican රසට හැපෙන Munchie savory salsa.
Boss, you're the one who lifted this company to where it is today, ne? Your work is so well organized and your capability really shines through it.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Cheesy lovers ලට Munchie savory cheese buttons.
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Malaban Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Munchie wanna know it's savory rasa. Munchie is savory.
හැමෝම ආස onion twist එක Munchie savory onion.
Seat Car Radials. The road is yours.
Mexican රසට හැපෙන Munchie savory salsa.
Hi තාත්තා.
කොහොමද ෂෑම් අද හොඳට ප්ලේ කළාද?
ඇයි සැකද? එහෙම ගෑවුනත් මොකෝ. හේ හේ සෙල්ලම් වැඩ බලන්නකෝ. හේ හේ අද පැල්ලම් වේවුනත් මොකෝ සෙල්ලම් මගේ බලන්නකෝ.
කිසි සැකයක් නෑ.
වියලි තද පැල්ලම් වලට නව Surf Excel Matic දැන් SPP තාක්ෂණයෙන් පළමු මැෂින් වොෂ් එකෙන්ම වියලි තද පැල්ලම් ඉවත් කරයි.
Cleanද?
Hey, සැකද? නව Surf Excel Matic.
Cheesy lovers slutter. Munchy savory cheese buttons.
Cricket, horse racing, football and more. SDBet.com, Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Play big, win big.
Munchy wanna know is savory rasa. Munchy is savory.
Hamoma asa. Onion twister. Munchy savory onion.
Sri Lanka in white and the New Zealand under-85s in their traditional black. The silver fern has been awarded to this New Zealand under-85 representative team, and it's a New Zealand-Sri Lankan combination. Also in the commentary box, Sudarshan Apir is joining me with Scotty Stevenson and plenty of all-black shirts in the crowd as well, just to show everyone watching from New Zealand just how much the All Blacks mean to this Sri Lankan nation. But of course, the cheering will be exclusively for the Sri Lanka team today as the Tuskers take on the New Zealand under-85s in their preparation for the Asian coming up in June and July. The Minister of Sports being introduced to both teams alongside Sir Graham Henry, of course, a gentleman we're all looking forward to meeting next week. And Sumo, you're going to be hosting a fireside with him. Always an entertaining guy to talk to.
Yes, the Cinnamon Grand in Colombo will be the venue, and it'll be wonderful to sit down with Graham Henry and mine him for the stories of what has been a fantastic career. He is so excited about being here in Sri Lanka. Inti Makara behind him as well has been instrumental in making sure this is a happening thing today as the Minister goes through his paces. James Perry will be the assistant referee on the sideline out of Singapore. JP Clements out of the UAE. And your local man Alex there as well on the sideline. No TMO in this game. On-field referrals. There is on-field referrals. There is a blue card in action as well. And both teams have agreed to 20-minute yellow cards, red cards, should I say, today. So those are the terms and conditions. And quarters. So something a little bit different. 20-minute quarters, 2-minute drinks breaks, and a standard half-time in play.
Just a bit of adaptation for the weather, of course. Sumo and I are absolutely sweating buckets. If we'd been here a little while longer, we might have been able to make the under-85 selection trials as well. We would have loved so much water weight. As the DG of Sports also accompanying the Honourable Minister, and that's Natai Walker, the coach of the New Zealand under-85s, entrusted with the historic task of bringing together this team who will be playing the Sri Lankan Lions. Sudarshana, Sri Lanka using this as a step, looking forward to the Asian as well. We have a couple of matches that are going to be really crucial for us. We're playing Korea, we're playing the UAE, and these games are going to be absolutely top drawer games. And using this New Zealand under-85 team as kind of a sighter for the expatriate players that we're going to face in those teams. Interesting preparation.
Perfect preparation, if you ask me, Shanika, especially for the Sri Lankan side. Like Sumo mentioned, Sri Lanka are 3 games away from a possible World Cup, and this is the closest Sri Lanka have come to a World Cup, as we ready ourselves for the national anthem of both the teams. We will have the Whiskey team, the New Zealand national anthem being played, and don't be surprised if you see the crowd singing along, because many of the Sri Lankan fans here know the New Zealand national anthem by heart.
Well, it's wonderful to see the number of travelling families too from New Zealand here to support their boys, their friends, their brothers, their partners. A couple of kids here as well. Matt Treby's brought his 2 children, young children, up today. Today they're on the back of an elephant. They're having the time of their lives. They're finding it a little bit hot for rugby season. Out of Wellington, Matt Treby and his family, and so it was a little bit more, shall we say, cooler where they left from. And a couple of his friends as well, Brett and Jared in the front row, who are here to watch him today.
And we have to give an honourable mention to the New Zealand High Commissioner for Sri Lanka as well. Scotty, he's been absolutely supportive of not just his enterprise but the relations between Sri Lanka and New Zealand, especially in rugby, and trying to get cooperations going, trying to make sure that there is a real feeder from Sri Lanka to New Zealand and vice versa. We really have to commend his efforts, and he's been instrumental in making sure this tour went ahead.
Yeah, His Excellency David Pine is a huge sports fan, and he sees the benefits of a rugby relationship between New Zealand and Sri Lanka, and also a cricket relationship, especially between our women's team, the White Ferns, and the Sri Lankans, who are so ably led by Chamari Atapatu, who has spent a lot of time in New Zealand, of course, and the Sri Lankan women were just on our shores, and it was great to welcome them back to New Zealand.
Sri Lankan team being introduced to the crowd by the ground announcer, not like they need too much introduction, because a lot of these players are Kandy players and players who have played here, household names almost, Sudarshana.
Yes, this is Nittawela crowd, very, very loyal to Kandy Sports Club, but today no club lines are drawn in. All of them are out in force to support the Tuskers, and also they are here to witness this incredible representative team from New Zealand and to support good rugby being dished out here. Everybody will be looking forward to good running rugby. Everybody will be looking forward to some slick action, but I would be lying that most of the people here will be looking forward to that all-important kamate being performed right in front of them.
It's not often that a Sri Lankan crowd get to see a haka performed in the flesh, but they will get that opportunity in just a few moments' time. After the national anthems, the captains had a chat and said, yes, after the national anthems, it will be the haka. And everyone watching at home, everyone watching in New Zealand, a historic moment for the first time since 1907, the haka in Sri Lanka, the national anthem of New Zealand.
Gracing our shores. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll ask you rather to continue to keep standing if you are able for the national anthem of Sri Lanka.
National anthem's done and dusted, the Lions flag waving will be the moment that is written in folklore for a lot of All Blacks fans. Many of us don't get to see it live, but Scotty, this is a big moment for a lot of the Nittawela fans and Sri Lanka fans.
I think this 85s team will be a little more nervous than anyone else here, to be quite honest. They haven't had a lot of time to practice. It is meaningful. It is laced with mana, the haka, and this will be an unforgettable moment for both them and hopefully for everyone here.
You talk about the Sri Lankan fans getting to witness it, but also just imagine the moment for these Sri Lanka players also to get to face a haka, something that they're probably not going to be able to do at a representative level unless they get through South Korea, Hong Kong and the UAE in the next couple of weeks and qualify for that big stage, the World Cup. But the Kamate will be led by Jared Percival's team. Got a few Maori boys in this lineup as well, so we'll be interesting to see who leads it. A rousing reception for the haka, led by Jamie Petford there. And it was an outstanding rendition, I have to say. It didn't look like they had a lot of time to practice it, but my goodness, they would have been performing it as kids, these under 85 lads coming through. Sumo, what a moment.
Oh, it never fails to get the blood pumping, doesn't it? And the heart rate elevated. What a great moment for the Sri Lankan boys, and a very cool moment for Jamie Petford to lead the haka here with this team on a history-making tour. Something he won't forget. His mum and dad are here as well. They won't forget it. And we're all set, and it's great to see the two captains, the two number 10s, the quarterbacks of these teams going at it today.
Well, I can assure you some more. Most of the young lads who are seeing this here will not forget it as well, and most of them will want to make sure that they are facing a haka one day, and this is the inspiration that we yearn for with games like this.
The UAE's JP Clements will be in charge today. James Perry from Singapore is the assistant referee number 1, and Sri Lanka's very own Ravin Alexander is AR number 2. Hopefully they won't be called into too much action, and the team of 3 will be deciding everything. There's no TMO today, but they will have a big screen assisting them if they do require it. Nigel Ratwatha in your frame there. What an honor to lead his country out against this visiting New Zealand team. The last time the All Blacks toured was 1907, the first and only time, and indeed the New Zealand Colts came over here in 1955, but this is only the third time a Silver Ferns team is kicking off in Sri Lanka as Nigel gets us underway, taken by Josh Purden. Big carry up the middle by Josh Purden, and straight into their big pot of forwards is Josh Gillett that time. The two Joshes getting their hands on the ball early doors. And from inside is 22, thumped down the park. Pass it to Bandara with his first tester, but manages to knock it back instead of forward. And this mercurial little fullback, what has he got in store for us? Think over the top. This game will probably not have many stoppages as Ephraim's finds Megson. Carried through, and Ephraim's puts a little kick in, but it's charged down.
Release! Step back here.
Got a man down in back play. Referee hasn't chosen to stop play, but Ravin Alexander has his flag up as Jack Leahy takes his forward, the tall second rower.
Yeah, it's Pasindu Bandara who's down, and he got a shoulder charge after he kicked the ball. Josh Purden just checked him with his shoulder, and I think they're going to look at this. And I think assistant referee Alexander is well within his rights to have a flag out here to consult with JP Clements. It did look at first gaze that it was not the greatest or smartest piece of play from Purden.
Tad bit delayed that shoulder charge on Pasindu Bandara. His first touch.
James, you got a clear block there.
Referee Clements wanted
Let's
to
check.
have a word with the other assistant referee as well.
TMO.
He will refer it to
I would like to
the
see
big screen at the back.
the passage
We'll
of
take a look
play
at that.
where Sri Lanka kicked the ball from the 22.
Well, he's gone
and
off
the potential
holding a
blockage
handkerchief to his nose.
by a New Zealander.
Which means that hopefully it's nothing more than a nosebleed for Pasindu Bandara, but it did get
We
a
are
big
checking
whack.
for potential block.
JP
Potential
Clements
block. There's
saying that he
foul
wants to have
play.
a look on the big screen, which is on
Just
the
wait, just wait.
clubhouse end of the ground. That's where he's trotting off
We're just
to.
checking.
He'll want to have a look at the pictures there. I'm not
The
sure
screen's there.
whether our cameras
Just
would
wait.
have got that. But they do seem to have. Sudarshana gives us a thumbs up. So let's see what we have in store here. The team of 3 will decide after looking at the replays.
Well, it was a misread early on, wasn't it, from Bandara? It was a great kick too from Percival. Just had a wobble to it and it was misjudged, but you can just sense, look at the pace, looks up, scans for opportunities, wasn't afraid to take on the line. And just here after the kick, have a look at the shoulder that comes down, and that, I'm sure, will be called foul play by the refereeing team. It was Purden who leaped up but then dropped the shoulder onto Bandara, and I would suspect that he may well find himself in the chair for 5 or 10.
There's no foul play.
Number 6,
Initially
Josh
stopped
Purden, the
play
man
because
who
of the injury.
had the first touch of
We're
the
gonna go scrum
entire
down
game.
black ball over here.
So the decision has been made. No foul play is the call from the referee. They would have taken into account the fact that there was no change in direction of the oncoming defender. So we will restart from a scrum up.
Time back on.
You find that interesting there, Scotty?
Well, I just think in the modern game, you would think to yourself that Purden had just put himself in a position. Now, it's not intentional, I don't think that, but still, we don't deal with intentions, we deal with the act. And unfortunately for Purden, he just got up. He was looking to charge the kick down, couldn't get to the kick, and as he came down, the shoulder made contact with Bandara, sold it pretty well, but he's gone off with blood. So we'll await to see what the decision from the medics is on him as well, and whether a blue card will be used.
Down to ground.
Well, not even a penalty, just a scrum to start the game off with. JP Clements making sure that
Coming this up. Give me a clean long band. Give me a band over. Keep
near
it up.
side of the
Shoulder
scrum,
out.
where we are in our commentary
Shoulder out.
position, that's Vimukta Gamage on the near side against Jayandra Dutoit.
Number 9. Set.
Maybe under 85 kilos, but
Keep it up.
Dutoit's not a small man by any stretch.
Crouch!
Very experienced too. Jandre Dutoit plays for the Pakuranga Black Panthers, national champion club.
Set!
75 appearances for them at this grade.
Pakuranga Panthers have the second highest number of players in this squad, as that's a beautiful line straight through from Ben Scott coming in off his left wing, but brought down well by the Sri Lankan cover defence that recovered. Here's Megson. Good tackle on him by Kamindu Pereira. Ephraim's waits, and now it's a long ball across the face, but nobody wanted it. Taken forward by Josh Gillett that time. Ephraim's looks left, goes right. Here's Purdon. Maybe a little lucky to be on the field. And Ephraim's now still going. It's slowish ball for New Zealand. Over the top of that is Vimukti Gamage. Percival. Busby.
Use it.
Sri Lanka's defensive line have organized pretty well. They're not shooting up, making sure they get the man at the first time of asking, but not rolling away. That's a really quick call by JP Clements.
Navid Marasinga learning hard that you need to quickly roll away. You can't take that extra second that you're normally used to. An opportunity for New Zealand straight away to try and get into that 22 meters. They've opted to go to touch.
It's good defence from Sri Lanka. They read the play well. New Zealand operating on that single line, looking to attack right on the gain line. They've got options, inside ball. They've got an outside ball. They've got some ball runners who look hungry for work as well. Purdon, for his minor misdemeanor earlier, has looked strong on the carry. And Gillett has started this game with a hiss and a roar as well. But the defence so far reading the play well.
Attacking line out deep inside the 22. Callum Nimmo will look for Jack Leahy or Tyler Cunning here. Tyler Cunning, of Dutch descent, as if New Zealand weren't tall enough already. They've got a Dutchman in the side.
Penalty advantage. Leave it, let it come. Let it come.
Dragging down, so they're playing advantage as Ephraim's burrows in after the ball, but the penalty is coming and Sri Lanka have to be careful now.
Leave him.
Second consecutive penalty conceded by Sri Lanka.
My communication to me very clear. I have black going forward, number 1 white, second. Then I have number 5 diving on top of the collapsed ruck, all right, and killing the ball. That's unacceptable, okay?
It's been a good period of play for the under-85s here for the New Zealand side. They look like they know what they're about, and they're forcing defensive pressure on Sri Lankans, and they're crumbling at the moment. Vimukti Gamage on that occasion, just not quick enough, sacking the ruck and sacking the maul and then flopping on top. Sri Lanka are going to have to be aware of that. They cannot afford to slow the play down like that. JP Clements is onto it quickly.
It isn't it, Sudarshan? Sri Lanka smashed Malaysia, but the intensity and the pace and the accuracy that they need at this level, that's what's going to hold them in good stead when they take on the likes of Hong Kong.
Wait for me.
Absolutely. Start off itself from the first maul. If you're going to be on referee's side, it's not going to be ideal for Sri Lanka. Hopefully they will adapt very quickly. Yet again, they have an opportunity here to try and unsettle New Zealand, try and get a jumper up, because you are not going to be able to try and stop them when they set up a maul. Get a jumper up, try and disrupt it before it starts.
It's just 5 men and Tyler Koenig is the go-to man once again, and they've got the drive on. Of course, Gillett, the vice-captain, tries to reach, has to lay it back, but now it's available and straight through goes Pasia Siata. And the big number 8 from the Poneki club manages to touch down, plays his rugby in Wellington. He's one of the highest pedigreed players in this New Zealand under-85 team and gets the first touchdown.
Straight out of the Poneki Wanderers, Pasia Siata. He's experienced at Premier Club level as well. The one thing about this attack, the flatness of the pass, right on the gain line, splitting across the face. The run from Gillett, almost over the line. I thought the defence held up well. Just wasn't enough. They looked up, they scanned once more. It was good vision from Ephraim's. He started the game strongly. And just have a look at this ball, right across the face. They bounce out, they drag defenders. Now they're split. It is a wonderful piece of play and great vision from the New Zealand halfback.
Brilliantly done by Pasiata, running on to that ball, and like Simbu mentioned, the New Zealand halfback reading it like open book. The defensive effort from Sri Lanka. Jayathu Rajaratne on the short side, screamed for defense to fan out, but it was too little too late.
Beautiful kick by Jared Percival there, making sure he adds the extra points. Interesting to note that Sri Lanka's defence were looking at each other and having a go after that. Dan Wickramarachchi and Vimutha Gamage, there was a miscommunication there. Gamage in his first match as a Sri Lanka player, his first run-on start. So that means that he was a little caught unawares, bit of a deer in the headlights in that particular occasion, and just let the ball through like a slip cordon.
And it's good work from Callum Nemo too, the New Zealand hooker. He bounced out, dragged the defender with him, created that hole.
And that's Purden, but this time he's met pretty strongly by Navin Marasinghe. And this is a time for Sri Lanka to settle their nerves.
Outside!
First 7 minutes of
Carry
the game
back.
gone already.
Wait!
And Percival wants to thump it straight down the middle like he did last time, but Pasithu Bandara might be in a little bit more of a running mood this time. Fresh back from his little bit of attention with the medic, and you can see there that the New Zealand under-85s are taking no prisoners here, and Sri Lanka are up for it.
Well, it was Galeta got himself in trouble with this time. He just jumped over the ball, couldn't resist. Flops, got himself in a bad position. You can see that's the way he bounced up and ran away, so he didn't get the referee's attention, but it was too late. JP Clements has started this game brilliantly. He wants to see open, running, fast-paced rugby. That's what the crowd wants. That's what both teams want. He's adjudicating well.
Sri Lanka now with an opportunity. They haven't had possession all throughout this game except for that little bit Pasithu Bandara had. Now they have an opportunity to come into the opposition 20. To be interesting to see what Vimukti will decide to do here and what the call will be from the forwards. But the backs are eager to run this ball. They are eager, very, very eager to try and set this one up.
Tina Bandara takes it at the front and Sri Lanka get their driving maul going. It's a penalty advantage as Jack Lady goes in at the side. Still playing the advantage, referee Clements, and he'll bring it back now. Straight in at the side for Jack Lady. And Sri Lanka, even from number 2, choosing to maul and drawing and setting the trap almost for the New Zealanders.
Smart play, it's a bigger pack, they know it. They want to get some advantage in that department. Set piece was always going to be a challenge, always going to be an area of strength for Sri Lanka, both in height and in weight. And I think they've just proved a point there. 5 metres out now, can they drive over the line?
Golden opportunity here. They will opt to do the same thing. Go to Tina Bandara and they set it up.
They're driving them towards the touchline as expected. It's beautiful defence and turned over as well by New Zealand. Now they'll look to run this one out as Ben Scott finds himself as first receiver. Jack Frames screaming for a clearance kick, or will he try to put this across himself? Yes, he does from the box. And taken by Jayathu Rajaratne, the leading try scorer in Sri Lanka's club competition. The defence will be a little better than he's used to.
Leave him! Let it come! Let it come! Let it come!
And the ball was out, or he didn't think the ball was out, did Clements, as Tyler Koenig went in straight at the side, concedes the penalty.
Interesting call to be made for Sri Lanka. Will they go for 3 points?
Sort it out.
Or try to go to touch, because they did have momentum first time they set it up. But the second time, New Zealanders were privy to it. They knew exactly what was coming.
Sort it out, says referee JP Clements, and New Zealand need to do that quickly.
Through the gate, on your feet.
Number of penalties so far. Conning just got his timing wrong. Thought the ball was out. It was a messy breakdown. Nittawela has all the angle in the world to work with here. That's a fine kick too. 12 metres out from the New Zealand line. They've got an opportunity to split this New Zealand defence. Going to 2 allows the New Zealanders to set up. That's a strength. The touchline's their friend. Maybe looking a bit deeper in this line out, looking to split the New Zealand at the back or maybe even the middle.
Gibbs will be expecting Sri Lanka to set this one up, but I'd say try the backs, because when the backs were being on the move, they looked dangerous, but they were up to go to Bandara, setting it up.
As you know, Sudarshana, Sri Lanka without their first choice line-up forward, Adisha Veeratunga, and Sri Lanka break away and make a few yards. The ball is on the floor now and they'll pick and go. This is where the superior body weight of the Sri Lankan pack. The only limitation, oh well, it doesn't matter as Pasi Asiat has broken away. Is he looking for his second try? He is, but he won't get 80 metres to score it. And Pasithu Bandara goes back.
Backwards.
And the young fullback is absolutely hammered by Jared Percival. And well done by Callum Nemo to get there. The hooker made a few yards as Megson throws a long ball out and it's beautifully run onto by Morrison. And here he is in for the corner. Goes Jamie Bedford. Brilliant work from him. And turning defense into attack. A 95-meter try. That's what we've come here to see.
End-to-end stuff from the New Zealand Bedford. Given that absolute ball because he came in support. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
So
Pasida Bandara learning the hard way in his debut that international
but we've
game
already
is
had
on a different level.
A change in possession.
Yep.
So therefore we cannot go back to that.
No, I think
I'm happy with grounding.
Grounding is
Passing
fine.
was good.
It's a try.
Try scored.
Well, there was just a committee meeting between James and JP, and they were talking about one of the passages of play in that movement. But take nothing away from the under-85s here. That's a 95-metre play. It was Asiata who set it up. The ball spilled out the side of the ruck. Once again, Sri Lanka went 2-ball on this New Zealand side. It's just too much for them at the moment to get the ball wide to be able to use that possession. They've got a backline that wants to run. Hard to get that quality ball from two. Yes, the drive is on, but as we mentioned at the mall before, New Zealand using the sideline as their friend. Ball spills out, defence was good, and look at the interplay between the teams. Unfortunately for Pasida Bandara, he probably wishes he was still off the field getting attention. That's the second time. He's just been caught on the hop from a long kick. And he'll look back on that play and think to himself, I have to get myself in better positions to be the kick receiver. Another conversion opportunity for Jared Percival, but another try for New Zealand.
Just wide of the right hand upright from Jared Percival. Will need to get his bearings from this side of the pitch a little better as he shakes his head, puts fair amount of pressure on himself, looks like. And here's the tackle from Percival, set up the try. Nemo did really well, and I think that's what they were talking about. Did he come from an offside position?
The player was not over the ball. The ball was available. He came through the gate.
Run onto it beautifully did Campbell Busby, and the inside pass to Jamie Pitford, and there you go. Here's Callum Nemo now.
Step back, step back.
Taken outside the 22, so they can't kick this one out. Tyler Cunning. And the ball's being dropped, and Sri Lanka now have an opportunity. Nigel Rothpat, they spots the gap at the back. But Jackson Ephraim has done well to recover that bouncing ball.
It hit the pole. It hit the pole into in goal. He touched it down. Goal line dropout.
Goal line dropout is the sum total of all of that. And Sudarshana, for Sri Lanka, it's about learning quickly. They went to two number 2 balls, and New Zealand reacted. Usually in Sri Lanka, teams don't react so quickly, but now they have to be ahead of the game, proactive before a team that is reacting much better.
100% Shanak, especially given the fact that Sri Lanka, despite having that weight and the height advantage, this New Zealand team, when it comes to the skill, they are a tad bit better than the Sri Lankans, so they will have to make sure that they react quickly, like you mentioned, and to make sure that they look for that alternative options. Nigel this time trying to make sure that he turns the defense around quickly, hoping that he gets the rubber the green.
That ball bouncing a little bit dangerously, but still taken well by Mohammad Rifan.
Yeah, that's a good run from him.
Smallest man on the pitch by a long way, as Dahan Wickramaratne picks up and goes, but met on the fringe, doesn't have much more. Sri Lanka's defense, or Sri Lanka's attack rather, from the fringe has been a little slow as Rifan looks for Shahid Zumri. This little magician in a green jersey. Beautiful pass out from Pasida Bandara. Kamindu Pereira, the fastest man in the Sri Lankan lineup. Here's Nisran Nila. The crowd on their feet now. Nigel Rathpatha looks, and the defense is up quickly from New Zealand. Shut off that outside channel. Nigel did well to keep it with him. Pinina Bandara now. They still go right.
Advantage offside.
Zumri threads the little kick in.
Number 13
just
offside.
Out into touch.
There is an advantage coming in favour of Sri Lanka. New Zealand line advancing a little too quickly.
Number 13.
Offside. Number 13 was the culprit that time. The try scorer.
Sri Lanka's team manager Rohan Chintaka, and of course the head coach of the team on the left of your screen there, Sanath Martis. Not breaking a smile yet, Sumo.
Well, they should be happy with that period of attack. New Zealand did well to keep their shape defensively, to shut down the outsides. But Nigel Radwello is such a smart footballer. He's going to be taking notes here. He will know if they can get around the outside, start using the tram lines, use the 15-metre zone as their friend. But New Zealand are doing well to flood defensively.
Pirina Bandara is the go-to man once again.
Use it!
And this time they take
Use
it
it!
towards the middle of the line.
No!
And straight over the top goes Jared Percival, not a place where you usually find your 10. And that's been, looks like trouble. Looks like trouble. It was cynical, wasn't it?
Just too many. Too many in the red zone. Sri Lanka want to
Number
attack
4.
New Zealand, getting themselves in bad positions. He's got no choice here, the referee.
There's no choice there because that was completely cynical. There was a ball with Dan Letty that time.
There's a time and place.
Right in front of the referee, trying to be a little
all
too
being
cheeky.
around the same
There is
thing.
a rock form.
I can't have you
Ball
jumping
had to
over.
come through
That's
and
dangerous and could be seen as cynical. So let's just sort that behaviour out. Secondly, the ball is clearly won. Number 4's come from the side and then played the ball. The ball's in your court. Please talk to your team.
So that's not that. I want to ask a question about something else.
Okay, yes.
So they're picking the ball up at the right, taking a step, but we're getting called offside.
Okay, I'll have a look at that. That's a different story. Different story. Different story. You have an opportunity to speak. You want to speak?
Jared Percival coming through the Aaron Smith School of Referee Management, Sumo.
It was a protracted conversation,
Wait
wasn't
for me,
it?
okay?
I think JB Clements is right. I mean, the one thing, this New Zealand side is clear. They want to fight for every possession. It's competitive
Wait for me to move,
environment
okay?
as well. We should have expected as much. But you've still got to make good decisions. And Jack Lady will be disappointed here. He's put his team under extra pressure. They've defended well in this part of the field, but now can they do it with one less in the pack?
Doesn't have the right that Sri Lanka has the weight advantage in their forwards as well. They will try to set it up yet again. This is where it happened. The ball went down. The ball was available at the back. Take a look at Letty. When the man goes to the ground, there's absolutely no way that he had an opportunity as Sri Lanka set it up. On
And
the
it's
line,
over.
and that's a try.
That's a try. And the first try scored for Sri Lanka by Dahan Wickramaratne. Macy schoolboy, the hometown lad, gets the first try, and you can see they're pumped. And the crowd loves it. 12 points to 5, Sri Lanka open their scoring.
A brilliant stuff from the Dahan Wickramaratne to get underneath the ball. Isipatana schoolboy, local club rugby boy. He plays for Kandy Sports Club. All these spectators here know him. They watch him week in, week out. What a moment for Wickramaratne, for Sri Lanka, and for all the fans who are here at Nittawela.
Well, we questioned doing that same play, going back to it time and again. This time they got it right. They had a one-man advantage, of course. The drive was good. They were onto it quickly, and Wickramaratne was right on the spot. All he had to do was flop over the line. New Zealand under pressure. It's a good call.
You could tell the pavilion liked it from the moment he hit it. Nigel Ratwater, Sri Lanka's first choice kicking. Ratwater is injured, nursing an MCL, but his cousin is doing the job.
Well, Tarinda Ratwater, like you mentioned, would have loved to be here, but Nigel Ratwater, the skipper, doing it for Sri Lanka. 7 points to 12. Incredible play from the local lads. New Zealand now under a little bit of pressure. Numerical advantage on the Tuskers. How can they use this? If they can hold on to position and keep putting pressure on the visiting team, we are in for an absolute treat.
Well, Sri Lanka have got to realize that the conditions don't favor the visitors. This heat is going to catch up with them at some point, so they've got to stay in the game, stay within touching distance. Nicely taken that time from Sri Lanka off the kickoff. Coming to Papare, I think it was, coming in off his wing. And Rifan goes to his left foot. That's a nice kick. It's an equally good chase. Francis Morrison is met hard, just short of the 50-meter line, and it's Callum Nimmo who has to deputise at scrum half. Big charge from Tom Rollins. And Ephraim's sees a little bit of a gap, and Pasuthu Bandara has to hair back. Nice stepping from Pasuthu Bandara. This is his forte. but he will be carried over the line. In fact, it was Rifan who was at the back there. Rifan opts not to go to his left boot. Tirina Bandara. The quarter is coming up. So Sri Lanka need to make sure they don't concede before that quarter comes up. Nigel with the long ball. Probably not the right option in that particular circumstance, but Shahid Zumri now wants to put boot to ball, finds some space and does exactly that. It's a good kick from the youngster, making his run-on debut for Sri Lanka today. Percival will return the favour. New Zealand do well to retreat. And here's Zumri, stepping once again. Nice work from him. Lahiru Tirakaratne does the clearing work, and Nigel that's screaming for it on the near side touchline. Navin Marasinghe, the heaviest man in the park. Rifan. Hiranta Pereira stands tall. They need to commit 3 players to the breakdown.
Well, they've got another man advantage here. Petford has stayed down after that tackle attempt as well. The shoulder's no good.
Well, 13 in the defensive line for New Zealand. Can Sri Lanka exploit it? The shouts of Sri Lanka grew up from this capacity crowd here at the Nittawela Stadium. Tanuja Jayavira dragged down. Rifan. And the referee has to stop the play. It's too dangerous.
Back into him. Watch a break.
But I encourage you passage of play for Sri Lanka. Helter-skelter stuff.
Watch a break.
I know you're sweating because it's very humid here at Nittawela, but the crowd feeling it. Sri Lanka getting behind their team and making sure that they support them. They need to make Sri Lanka, I thought, was a little unorganized in the last couple of phases. They need to make sure that they play to their strength, which is their backs. Their speedy backs. If they can get them into action and unsettle this New Zealand side, they will do very good for themselves.
You can understand why you want to get into a few collisions as well, why you want to assert your dominance on the gain line. Big carries like the one we've just seen, the one that's left Jamie Petford and all sorts down there, still receiving medical attention. But it's okay, New Zealand will know that it's coming at them. But it's the fact now that their ball carriers and ball runners are starting to gain confidence against this New Zealand lineup. They have to know that the way they are playing is going to fatigue this New Zealand team. That is the strength of Sri Lanka. They're accustomed to these conditions. The New Zealanders, this is as far from home as they get.
And I haven't stand still.
Trust me, even in the commentary box.
Stop, stand still, and make sure the comms come through. If I see you run,
well, if the levels of fluid loss in the commentary box is anything to go by, these lads would have lost the kilo already.
Scrum down.
They'll be ready to play the under-80s once this game is finished. Tanuja Jayavira and his propping partner Vimukti Gamage will need to start feeling
when you guys are ready.
The heavy shoulders in that scrum.
Well, he's staying on Jamie Petford as well. I'm surprised by that, the way he went down. It looked more than just a stinger, but he's a tough cookie. Led the haka for New Zealand, of course. And he's decided he will stay out there. We must be close to quarter time.
Stay down.
We're a few seconds short with injuries to account for.
Crouch!
We've got a nice blind side here with Shahid Zumri and Kamindu Pereira, the real speedsters, lining up on the left.
Gotta come left for me.
Penalty. The mark is not there, it's over here.
Takes it quickly, but not from the correct mark. He's fired
Number
up.
one, wheeling the scrum.
Wouldn't you be?
Number one.
You've grown up watching games of that black jersey. You've idolized many players from that black jersey, and you get to score one for your own country against that black jersey. He's going to be a man possessed, Shanaka. He's going to want that ball at the back of this ball as well, from the line out. He will want that, and he will want to go across again.
It was the right call. They know that Bedford's left shoulder is not great at the moment after that collision. Go at it again. They look to have numbers. They had one behind. Have a look at Ratwata. He's staying behind, and so too was Bandara. So they had options to go left and right. Well, Kramaranchi looked up. He saw Bedford. Eyes lit right up. Here they go again.
Bandara gets his third catch. But it's good defense once again from this New Zealand touring team. They get over. But do they get it down? JP Clements right on the spot.
Over the goal line dropout.
From the blast, he says no, it's not down, and that might just be the quarter.
Hold up, over the line.
New Zealand want to go quickly.
Goal line dropout.
And yes, that seems
Player
like it
down.
might be the quarter. This game played in 4
Hold
quarters.
up over the line. Your player's down.
Jared Percival, now the New Zealand captain, also down in back play, hasn't been shy getting himself involved in the heavy lifting. He's been in rucks, he's been in malts, he's been all over the park today. So some concern for the New Zealand skipper now, who's back to his feet gingerly. I would have thought they could call quarter time on that play. It's essentially a restart, couldn't stop on a penalty.
Okay, thanks. Come on, Jasmine.
But on we continue, and Percival, this
Okay,
is the hold
time
up.
back
He's
on.
the man who's got to take the kick.
Goal line dropout.
Well, with Richie Mwanga over in Japan.
On you, number 10.
Everything's up for grabs, isn't it, Sumo? So Jared Percival will be thinking this is a nice platform for him to show himself as well as maybe a contender.
About 16.
Down the chain.
32 years young. I think Jared Percival might be content where he's at right now, but he's had a wonderful career in the amateur leagues of Heartland Rugby. He was a New Zealand Heartland representative, but some more work to do for the Kiwis.
Zumri hoists it high. Jayatu Rajaratna with the chase. Beautifully taken.
Fair contest.
It's a good contest,
Fair
says the
contest.
referee. And Busby comes away with it. Here's the left winger, Ben Scott. Nicely taken down and a good counter ruck as well. But frames finds some willing forward runners. Here's Busby again. He's been carrying strongly.
Hasn't he been good?
Percival now spots a little bit of space. Looking for the 50-22, but the bounce of the ball isn't kind to him. Well, he's not a man to die wondering, is he, Jared Percival?
I wanted to make sure that he rushes Pasitha Bandara. He knows that Pasitha Bandara has had a couple of misjudgments. An opportunity now for Sri Lanka to try and clear the ranks. They need to be mindful because New Zealand has been camped up in their own half in the past couple of phases. They will look to run at them. They will look to run at them hard here.
Well, the big lads are huffing and puffing. Looks like that was the hooter for the quarter. As they look to wind up one last time before the break. Nicely done that time by Francis Morrison. Finds the back of the hand offload, and in for the corner goes Ben Megson. Lovely little offload that time from the vice-captain Josh Gillett. And it was the break from Morrison that did it really. And Sri Lanka just picking themselves up a little too slowly.
What a run from Francis Morrison. Took the ball, 22 years of age, looked up and just pieced his way through the Sri Lankan defensive line. They just weren't urgent enough chasing the kick. It wasn't overly long, it wasn't overly short, it was an in-betweener. Ben Megson's run some great lines all day, but take nothing away from the support line of Josh Gillett. He was right there, knew when to time the pass, and Megson with an easy finish.
And ideally for Sri Lanka, they would have wanted it to go a little bit deep. Take a look at that, weaving through the defenses of
30 seconds.
the Sri Lankan defenders. Lovely offload, back of the hand.
Noted, thank
it's
you.
It's going to be easy.
That's going to be real disappointment for Nigel Radwara and his team. Francis Morrison had no business going on that tear. He essentially got around the forward pack. There was no urgency in the chase. They were flat-footed. They waited for him. He was able to circumnavigate, find his way through. Then the midfielders not chasing up hard enough. There was no line in place. And then another successful conversion to rub salt into the wound.
Jared Percival making sure he adds the two-pointer. And it's a shame for Sri Lanka because they just played themselves back into the game. They'd exerted some pressure. They'd put some big hits on the New Zealanders. And then just with a little bit of passivity,
The doctor asked
they
time
allowed
off. You have
New
a player
Zealand
down.
back into the game. Absolutely no one wanted a piece of Francis Morrison. And he said, thanks very much. And sliced through the defense with Percival to add the extra as well. The clouds are descending. Sudarshana, and this Kandy unpredictable weather. Hopefully it doesn't take
Noted,
a turn for
thank
the
you.
worse, but there
If
are
number
some
one can go
big
off,
black
that'll be great.
clouds almost matching the black jerseys of the visitors.
It's been attritional today, hasn't it? Now Vimukti Gamagi has been really good so far in this game. Has to have some attention. Still no closer to quarter time unless we had decided to have the 2-minute water break during the injury for Petford. And that may well have been the case.
Come
So
back on.
we are just carrying on here.
Watch off.
2 minutes goes
Wait
quick
for the
when a
water.
man's down.
Nigel, just wait.
Johnny Fernando coming onto the park.
Okay.
And looks like he might be a permanent replacement there as Vimukthi Gamage limps off. One of the best players in the forward pack in this club season, so it's not a terrible thing to have him come on as Petford is dragged down by his opposite number. Inside the 22 they are as
Carry back! No!
Dutoy
Carry back!
takes it forward. Ephraim's with the kick from the base, but it's high rather than far. Completely misjudged, and Ephraim's has his own kick to collect now. Down the touchline, Josh Purden manages to thread this one over and passing to Bandara.
Out.
He's flying, but
Flags up.
referee James has his flag up.
It has crossed the plane of touch.
James Purden, what business does an blindside flanker have kicking a pill like that? James Perry right on the spot though. James Perry, his sister Liz Perry is the high performance
Nice work,
manager
James.
for New Zealand women's cricket back home. So nice to see James here, now domiciled in Singapore. And he has adjudged Purden to have crossed the plane of touch.
Been watching a few Adi Surveyor highlight reels for sure. Josh Purden as Sri Lanka to throw into this lineup. They go to the back this time following Bandara. Nigel Rathwater. There's Navin Marasinghe again with the big carry into Megson.
Well, the big carry was not followed up by the big clearance that was needed. And New Zealand absolutely on spot, and it's that man again in the number 8 jersey. Asiata was right on top of that ball, tackling it and winning it for New Zealand.
Just look at the defensive line
We're very happy
from
with
the
it.
New Zealanders on the play. All aligned, all up together. The calling has been strong. Busby's setting a real tone in midfield, both on offence and defence. That's what allowed them to get in a position to get it over the ball. It was a solid carry as well. But because New Zealand was so organised defensively, able to get over the ball, win the turnover.
How many? Numbers.
It's New Zealand's
Numbers, boys.
midfield that
Tell
has
them.
really been head and shoulders above Sri Lanka's untested combination. Shahid Zumri making his debut, of course, and Hiranta Pereira coming back after not getting much game time against Malaysia. So they will need to sort that out in the second half. Won well by Jack Leahy, who's come back, but that's a big tackle from Vikramarachchi. And here's Tyler Koenig. Takes 3, still going Tyler Koenig. Nizar drags him down. Ephraim's goes back to where they came from. Here's Purden again. Percival. Busby.
Rub, play on! Rub,
It
play
might have
on!
been knocked on there.
No
but
hands,
referee
Black,
says
no
play
hands!
on.
Rubbed in the tackle!
It was stripped out. It was a really important play. Crucial that Sri Lanka get their hands on the ball here, work their way out of their own danger zone. They've been camped here, it feels, for the last 10 minutes.
Rajaratne ripped the ball away. Getting another life for Sri Lanka. Need to exit.
So Nigel Rathwater throwing caution to the winds now. And here's Pasha Bandara. He throws a little dummy. Oh, he needed to give that one.
That's fine.
Absolutely needed to give that one.
You were the last person to play a scrum down.
And this is the danger, isn't it? Pasha Bandara will leave any player in Sri Lanka for dead with that dummy. But these aren't Sri Lankan players anymore.
You were the last person to play the ball.
Yeah,
He
Pasha
was on
Bandara
side,
trying
open
to
play.
get back into that game. It's nice to see him getting that
Open play.
confidence.
You were the
Shahid
last
Zumri
person to
throwing
play the
that
ball.
pass. Take a look at this.
Yes.
Looking for the dummy, but
I'll have a look.
I'm privy to that, my friend.
Well, the hard thing for Bandara, and you don't want to take anything away because it's his natural game, he's instinctive, he wants to play, but the pass was on. The pass was on, and I think it was going into Pereira, maybe.
Yes.
He was coming to Pereira outside
If you
him,
wanna
and
go
he's the
forward,
fastest man on the pitch.
I need your 2 and 3 to go with you.
I would have.
You went by
probably
yourself.
would be kicking inside.
They
to him.
anchored.
He'll be telling
Okay, I
Pasha,
need to
listen,
go
mate,
together.
next time you pass it to me, and then come back supporting me, you'll be able to try and benefit.
Do you know, everyone, we were promised a fast-paced, entertaining game of rugby. We're only 31 minutes deep here. It's been everything as advertised. I think the ambition from both teams has been outstanding. Sri Lanka are trying to work this New Zealand team out. Of course, they don't know too much about them. They haven't been able to do the scouting that they would do for an Asia Cup match, for instance. So they're learning the ropes too, how to defend, how to attack against this team. I think there are signs for Sri Lanka that if one pass, judge the timing a little bit better, just free up the man on the outside. Don't always look for the collision. If they can work that out, use their rugby IP as opposed to the advantage that they have in size, I think they'll be better off as this game continues.
So I need all three
One
going
thing
through together.
that we have to acknowledge is the crowd
Time
here
back
in
on.
Kandy, who have
Lost
descended
forward,
on
but
Nittawela
what?
Stadium.
Scrum
And
black.
they are as much a part of the package of this afternoon as the men on the field are.
They've been like
Put their
bees to
shoulders
the
out.
honeycomb,
Hips
haven't
straight.
they? They've just descended from all parts of Kandy, and it's wonderful
Crouch!
to see. They will not forget this afternoon, regardless of what the result is.
Sit!
Look for slight wheel for Asiata to open him up on the right side.
Both of you together.
It's a wonderful place to attack from, isn't it? A great launch pad for New Zealand. They want to get this
Put the
ball in and
shoulders up
out
and behind,
quickly. They
please.
know they give away certain weight here at scrum time.
James,
In and
what do you
out
have your
quickly.
side?
They've got options. Percival will run the cutter. Got to look out for the dangerous Petford too. Stationed now behind the New Zealand first
You said
five.
stay up, okay?
And that means Francis Morrison has jumped out into the midfield.
Crouch!
Francis Morrison in the midfield, and really hugging that touchline, Sumo, is Ben Scott. So the cross kick is on as well. They'll make sure they want to drag Sri Lanka in a little closer. And here's the heel. Ephraim's. Percival, and that's the cross kick. It's not the best weighted, but we called it in the commentary box. And Percival may have been listening.
Shanaka was a great call. Ben Scott was on the touchline. They had to set up the play, and Percival one little inch closer in for the bounce, and maybe he was away again here. But New Zealand, for a team that's only just come together on this tour, they've certainly got some moves up their sleeves. And I think that's part of the New Zealand DNA as well. Always have a couple of specials on offer.
Well, plenty of specials on offer today here from the New Zealand side, putting pressure on that line out as well, but Sri Lanka managing to scamper away and get hold of possession.
Wrestling that ball to the ground, but it's too high, that challenge. And Sri Lanka will have the reprieve of a penalty.
Around the neck.
So they'll use this just to breathe into their diaphragms and restart.
Sri Lanka versus New Zealand 1985, presented by Dialog, of course, the biggest promoter of sport in the country. And
That
these live
contest was
pictures
good.
brought
But
to
make
you
sure it
on the
stays on the
Papare,
ball
Sri
line.
Lanka's #1 sports channel. From very humble beginnings, Shanaka, today, at this moment, we are telecasting an international rugby match, international cricket match, and also a couple of schools rugby games as well. Absolutely incredible stuff from the Papare.
Here we go, Nigel Rathwatha. Navin Marasinghe passes to no one in particular, but Hiranta Pereira will rescue it. And now it's returning the favour, a bit of kick tennis. And Nigel, or Hiranta rather, decides to slow things down. It's been a great journey, hasn't it, Sudarshan? I've been lucky to be a part of the Papare journey from its inception, and to see it coming from its humble beginnings, from one camera telecast to now this New Zealand under 85 tour, which is being seen not just across Sri Lanka but across the world, and certainly in New Zealand on NZR Plus as well. Sumo, we're really privileged to be taking the game to all corners.
Yeah, do not underestimate the work the Papare has done in bringing live sport to Sri Lanka, and now, as you mentioned, boys, to the world as well.
No.
It is a wonderful story.
You have to give numbers, they're
and it
asking.
allows the
How
fans
many?
to truly engage with their
Five,
heroes and to
indicate
create
five.
new ones on a
Wait
daily
for me.
basis. That's what it's
Wait.
all about.
Just on camera moments ago, Anna Shanahan, the media manager for this New Zealand under 85 team. This is probably the time that she has the least amount of work to do, so she's having a bit of a smile.
Use it!
Callum Nimmo at the back of that maul. Breaks away. This time coming off his wing is Ben Scott, looking for work, but ripped away almost. The frames. Leighton.
That's a good carry.
Jack Lady has been really long in the carry, making sure he gets over the gain line and presents well. Cutting back infield is Giandre Dutoit. Lots of options now for reference. Here's Leahy again, but he gives it to Morrison. Morrison dummies. Morrison goes into the 5. Can he reach over? Just short.
No hands.
Presents nicely. Sri Lanka's defense have to fold. Vikramarati waits at the base and unfortunately been knocked on. Has it? No, it hasn't.
Time off.
Let's see what the referees decide.
Time off.
Well, JP Clements is going to take his time here just to ascertain what exactly happened. If Frames looked to pass the ball, and then he tried to sell the fact that he was stopped by a Sri Lankan hand. That's what they're going to look at.
I understand something happened here.
He's not on the base of the scrum, but that's because 7 is pulled through with his hand. 7 White.
So 7 White has pulled through the ruck.
His hand has played the ball, so there's a penalty to Black on the 5.
So that's advantage. Who's it lost forward by?
Lost forward by Black.
Lost forward by Black or by White?
Black.
By
And
Black.
that's due to White coming through the ruck and playing with their hands.
Okay. Do you want to have a look because that's a potential yellow card. Let's have a look.
If you think
Do you have a clear number 7?
Yeah.
I want to have a look, please. TMO.
So they are going to have a look at the replay. I think that's sensible to do that.
What I would like to have a look at is the
naked eye,
actions
with
of 7
5.5
White
vision,
in the
It
breakdown.
did look like it came off a New Zealand foot.
Does he play the ball out of the Nine's hands? And is he off his feet? Can we please show me that angle?
What's interesting to see is because as soon as it happened, referee Clements did blow his whistle, although New Zealand continued playing and scoring that try. So either it'll have to be a penalty try under the post.
So watching the replay here, Pereira gets across to make the stop, passing the Bandaras in there as well. Francis Morrison does well not to reach out, lays it back. Maybe the penalty occurred here in JP Clements' mind, but let's watch the ball. That's Gellert over it, leaves it for reference. Ooh, there was a little hand. There was a sneaky little hand.
What I have is, I have a ruck, a clean line break. I have a ruck formed.
And I think
ball is
it might have
available.
been the hand.
Number 7, who is in the ruck but off his feet, plays the ball out of the Nine's hand.
Knocks out of the 9's hand. So do we have that?
So for me, that's foul play. It's cynical.
Do we have
It's
a
in the red
knock
zone.
on, or do we have
A deliberate knock.
Okay,
Deliberate
yep.
knock, hitting it out of his hand. Happy?
Check the number
Okay,
7,
can we
right?
please check the number? Please show me that angle again. I want to clarify, is it number 7 White?
Hard to see, but
You have a clear number on number 7?
yes. The ball comes here. Does he play the ball?
So regardless of whether he's playing the ball or not, it's in the ruck and he's off his feet, it can't be done.
Off his feet.
So it's number 7 White, yellow card. Thank you.
And with the black armbands.
Nisar might be the man who's getting his marching orders here. It's cynical, clearly.
Captain.
Well, I hope
Captain.
they've taken the time to quickly get rid of those
Number 7.
armbands, whoever was wearing them.
So what we have is a clear line break. A ruck is formed. Number 7, who is in the ruck and off his feet, plays the ball out the Nine's hand. It's cynical, it's a yellow card.
Lahiri Tirukaratne, given the marching orders this time, will have to spend 10 minutes in the bin.
We can't look at try scoring
Apologies to
because
Dahan
the
Vikramarati.
defensive
It
line
wasn't
was
him,
set
it was
with yellow
Lahiru,
cards on.
the Police Sports Cup player,
Yeah, of course.
making his start for Sri Lanka today.
Go which way? This way? Because that
It's unclear. It's
Certainly
unclear if it
involved in a
went
cynical
forward or
incident.
back. So we're not going to go with clear and obvious. So you go in with it. No, never. Well played, though.
There's another conversation here between
Yeah,
Jared Percival and JP
penalty.
Clements because
Yes.
Percival's asking why not a penalty try. But wasn't in the act of scoring a try. But you can argue from Percival's point of view, did it prevent a probable try being scored? If it had been a penalty try, it would have been an automatic yellow card, but not so the other way. So JP Clements has used some clemency, so to speak, in Sri Lanka here.
Certainly has Sri Lanka lucky not to concede the 7-pointer as well as the yellow card. New Zealand will have to go ahead and score this one.
Well, the rain has come, and the hills behind us here at Nittawela Stadium, they are are now being given a good drenching. Hopefully that doesn't arrive here too quickly.
Jack Lady at the back. Miza gets around and tries to disrupt, and he does well. Gillett now, he's been carrying strongly all evening. Frames, here's Lady, Lady goes over. As soon as he got the ball, you knew that he was going to get over there. He's never been short of the gain line today, and Jack Lady gets a decisive score for New Zealand just before half-time.
Right underneath the post.
Terrifying. Clement, can we please get a time check?
Absolutely brilliant stuff from New Zealand, getting that sent to the centre field where Sri Lanka were a little stretched defensively, didn't get their spacing right. And speaking about the rain coming in, Shanaka, you and I have seen a lot of games being dished out here where the rain has become the greatest leveler, because the
Clement, can we
outfield
confirm
becomes
time, please?
very, very tricky to
Time check.
handle, and that could bring in a newer twist to the game.
Simple try, wasn't it, for the New Zealanders? Jack Lady, brother-in-law of Bowden Barrett's. There you are.
Brother of Hannah Lady, indeed. She's been here for her honeymoon, so the Lady family knows Sri Lanka well.
It was a good finish. Sustained period of pressure for the New Zealanders. Pressure on the goal line again for Sri Lanka. Just didn't have the answers. Unfortunately now they're going to spend another 8 minutes without Lahiru Tilakaratne, who couldn't help but get his hand in the way of the pass. He frames, was looking for Gillett. Gillett ultimately was denied, but Lady getting the try. New Zealand still 15 on 14 here.
Backwards! Backwards!
Tyler Koenig inside the 22 will set this one up. New Zealand just need to consolidate before half-time. Passing to Bandara, tested, and passes the test this time. Tries to get out of the tackle, and the hand Wickramarati bumps off Ben Megson. Sri Lanka now will be emotional. Navin Marasinghe goes, but he goes on his own once again. Needs to make sure.
Needs to roll.
In fact, it's Chatura.
Play on, balls out.
Duranta Pereira manages to get the ball away, but only as far as Campbell Busby. It's a knock-on advantage as
Use it.
the rain clouds open and the pitter-patter stops.
Advantage over.
Given lovely pass to Pasia Asiata. Francis Morrison has been distributing beautifully.
Well, they've got to shut him down. Francis Morrison is just having his way at the moment. Scored the winning try in the national final for the 85s last year. And just see what a threat he poses. He's got time with the ball. And I think when you think about his background as a touch rugby player as well, he's running the playbook out here on Sri Lanka's defence. He's able to take on the line, then bounce out and have them chasing their tail. It's an impressive
James,
line, this, and it's very much off the touch field. That pass was a beauty. What an angle too from Asiata.
Good work from Jonathan Fernando, who's come on to the field for Sri Lanka, and Dan Wickramarati has been playing out of his skin, forcing that error from
1.5 minutes.
Asiata, who is a very good ball carrier, strong ball carrier, got across the line.
1.5 minutes, okay? 1.5 to go.
Little telltale steps from
1.5.
Francis Morrison, isn't it? Those wide lateral steps, very much touch rugby. Manages to get away, and that's what Sri Lanka need to do better, move laterally, Sudarshana. They've been moving forward well, but they've really got to make sure that the weak shoulders don't get exploited too much.
Yes, that's something Sri Lankans would love to do, and maybe with the inclusion of Surya Bandara, who'd like to
scrum,
make use of that.
Scrum.
Take a look at that.
They got the penthouse tickets. How good?
White ball.
Every vantage point. Every vantage point here is taken.
It's not a health and safety recommendation, but my goodness, this just shows you how popular rugby is here in Nittawela, in Kandy, and in Sri Lanka. Couple of seconds to go for half-time, probably the final scrum of the half.
Crouch! Bond!
They'll be desperate for some points here, Sri Lanka. Got a long way to go. 16 metres short of the target here. Scrum.
Dan Vikramarachi gives it to Rifan off the back and a nice long ball to Jayathu Rajaratne, has the pace to get around. And unfortunately the kick is not a good one. Needed to keep that in hand, especially with half-time looming. Jayathu Rajaratne, step in son. You haven't scored a bucket load of tries by kicking forward, but he did really well to get around his opposite number, Ben Scott there.
Last line coming across to shut him down. Rajaratne, I don't blame him for taking the kick option, but
Time is yours.
ultimately a sense
Time
of
is yours.
adventure in the play, using the pace on the outsides, using the full width of the field.
Open.
Yeah, Rajaratne did showcase that
What? Open
speed
up.
that he possesses, which he uses to good effect. Sri Lanka will be hoping that they use that outside channels a little bit more in the second exchange of this game.
Tyler Koenig has been the perpetual recipient of the line out, and Josh Gillett chooses to whack this one into touch. We'll have a drink, thank you very much, he says, and 26 points to 7 is what Sri Lanka find themselves trailing in this game. And they will need to regroup at half-time. Let's see what the bench does for Sri Lanka as well. They have a few experienced players on the bench to come on, and whether Sanath Matis will make those changes early or later in the game is what we'll have to see as we go into half-time. The New Zealand flag and the Sri Lanka flag flying in tandem, as Lewis Craig will want to get a run on for sure. It's been an entertaining half, although the scoreline reached 26-7, so just a bit of dominance from New Zealand. It has been a bit closer than that, hasn't it, Scotty?
Wonderful, entertaining half of footy, and that's what the people have come to watch. Certainly why we're here and what we wanted to see from both teams. I really do think Sri Lanka just played within themselves, just maybe a little overawed by the occasion. I know there was a lot riding on it for the Sri Lankan side, and I know they have bigger fish to fry, quite literally, in the Asia Cup. But still, there are signs of life from the Sri Lankan side. Radawari has to get the ball in his hands. He has been starved of possession. He's the talisman in the Sri Lankan side. He is the leader, the captain, the first 5/8. He has to control the tempo for Sri Lanka in the second half.
It's interesting that Sri Lanka opted to make sure that that they try out their widest squad. It's not their first choice players who are playing in this game. Sanath Matis is a wily old fox Chanaka. He will want to try and observe the New Zealand side and then put up that big team in the second leg come next week.
Certainly will, and he's a master tactician. He's not a short game kind of man. He's a long game kind of man, and we'll see what he's got in store for the next 40 minutes. Thanks very much for joining us for the first 40. We'll be back with the second 40 just after the break.
Cheesy lover's letter, munchy savory cheese buttons.
Cricket, horse racing, football and more. SDBet.com, Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Play big, win big.
Are you okay?
Whose fault is this? Looks like someone didn't use Tokyo Super Seal for waterproofing. Tokyo Super Seal. Do it right the first time.
Munchy wanna know it's savory rasan. Munchy is savory.
Hamoma asa, onion twistaka, munchy savory onion.
Lassana fan loke, kottumi sara vihide, kikkiga situ brandava kere. Fire and fashion lape, heat take away they wate, hot and spicy guess what they rase.
Dance ka hit wenne, move ka set wenne.
Diva gasse vi dene rase, kottumi happening me, rasta jaude anne, hot and spicy vi sevage. Prima kottumi, fan tamai.
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Malabar Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Car Radials. The road is yours.
Mexican Russata Happiner, Munchy Savory Salsa.
Boss, you're the one who lifted this company to where it is today, ne? Your work is so well organized and your capability really shines through it.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Cheesy lover slutter, munchy savory cheese buttons.
Cricket, horse racing, football ඇතුළු තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රැසක්. stbet.com ලංකාවේ අංක 1 betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
Munchy wanna know savory rasa. Munchy savory. Hi තාත්තා.
කොහොමද ෂෑම් අද හොඳට ප්ලේ කළාද?
ඇයි සැකද? එහෙම ගෑවුනත් මොකෝ. හේ හේ සෙල්ලම් වැඩ බලන්නකෝ. හේ හේ අද පැල්ලම් වේදුනත් මොකෝ සෙල්ලම් මගේ බලන්නකෝ.
කිසි සැකයක් නෑ. වියලි තද පැල්ලම් වලට නව Surf Excel Matic දැන් SPP තාක්ෂණයෙන් පළමු මැෂින් වොෂ් එකෙන්ම වියලි තද පැල්ලම් ඉවත් කරයි.
ක්ලීන්ද?
ඇයි සැකද? නව Surf Excel Matic.
හැමෝම ආස onion twist එක. Munchy savory onion.
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Malabar Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
ලස්සන ෆන් ලෝකේ කොත්තුමි සැර විහිදේ හිත් එක සිත බැඳනවා කෙරේ ෆයිවන ෆැෂන් අපේ හිත් එක වැඩේ වටේ hot and spicy gas මතේ රසේ
Dance එක hit වෙන්නේ move එක set වෙන්නේ
දිව ගැසෙවි තන්නේ රසේ කොත්තුමි happening නේ රස්තට උඩ යන්නේ hot and spicy මිසේ වගේ ප්‍රීමා කොත්තුමි ෆන් තමයි
Mexican Russata Happiner, Munchy Savory Salsa.
Car Radials. The road is yours.
Cheesy lover slutter, Munchy Savory cheese buttons.
Cricket, horse racing, football and more. stbet.com, Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Play big, win big.
Munchy wanna know savory rasa. Munchy savory.
හැමෝම ආස onion twist එක. Munchy savory onion.
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Malabar Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Hi තාත්තා.
කොහොමද ෂෑම් අද හොඳට ප්ලේ කළාද?
ඇයි සැකද? එහෙම ගෑවුනත් මොකෝ. හේ හේ සෙල්ලම් වැඩ බලන්නකෝ. හේ හේ අද පැල්ලම් වේදුනත් මොකෝ සෙල්ලම් මගේ බලන්නකෝ.
කිසි සැකයක් නෑ. වියලි තද පැල්ලම් වලට නව Surf Excel Matic දැන් SPP තාක්ෂණයෙන් පළමු මැෂින් වොෂ් එකෙන්ම වියලි තද පැල්ලම් ඉවත් කරයි.
ක්ලීන්ද?
ඇයි සැකද? නව Surf Excel Matic.
Mexican Russata Happiner, Munchy Savory Salsa.
Welcome back, and the best news from halftime is that the heavens haven't opened yet. As we look out over the picturesque Nittawela ground, some of the most spectacular grounds here, not just rugby but cricket as well. The Askiria Stadium, where Sri Lanka scored what was the highest score back then in 1996. As we look at the highlights of the first half, Pasia Asiata with the first try. Early doors for New Zealand, running a nice flat attack.
Yeah, Percival good too, getting the first conversion underway. It wasn't long before the New Zealanders were in again. Let's have a look at the work of Petford here. And Sri Lanka basically had gone to the two-man line-out, second man call. They were looking to drive. New Zealand had stopped them twice. They wouldn't stop them a third time. Sri Lanka over for their first try. And the conversion from Ranawati was absolutely outstanding. At that stage, New Zealand leading the game 12 points to 7.
Here was Francis Morrison. Parted the Red Sea there, and Josh Gellert with a lovely back of the hand offload. And in the end, it was Megson that managed to get over there.
There was a sustained period of pressure then. There was the sin binning for Sri Lanka as well, so they were a man down. And Jack Leite carrying beautifully. And you can see the support as well from Roland driving him over the line. Tilakaratne had been taken from the field after getting a hand involved on the play before. Converted by Percival, and New Zealand heading into half-time, leading handily over the Sri Lankan side.
We've had a few games at half-time for the entertainment of this public gathered here today. There's completely over capacity here at Nittawela. And
well, without doubt, New Zealand's best try in that first half, that 95-metre effort, finished off by
I've been given
Jamie
strict
Petford.
instructions not to start the second half until the
it
crowd
was chaos.
get behind the
It
scoreboard.
had a carnival atmosphere to it. It was entertaining.
The police are moving them.
Sri Lanka had their opportunities to stop the play and just couldn't do it. And they must have thought, how did we get here? Going from New Zealand to right-hand corner to their own left.
yes, it was a stunning try. The kind of tries that we're used to seeing New Zealand teams scoring, and they didn't disappoint there. It's been a combative affair, hasn't it, Scotty? Nobody's taken a step back.
I wouldn't expect them to. I wouldn't expect Sri Lanka to do anything less on their home soil. It's a very proud team. And they've got a huge expectant crowd here looking for them to perform. But from this New Zealand under 85's point of view, being around these guys over the last couple of days, being around their families, knowing what it means to them to finally be recognised in national colours in a grade that continues to grow in New Zealand. But make no mistake, they are highly skilled footy players. They've all been through school systems. They've all played senior club rugby. They've been in the mixer before. And there's one thing about a team in black, they won't take a backward step. They won't be overawed by the size of their opponents. It is something that we are so accustomed to in New Zealand. Playing against bigger opponents is part and parcel of playing the game. So it's not that. The only thing that I did fear for this side was just being a little caught in the headlights, but that hasn't been the case. Scoring first, scoring second. They've kind of taken control of this game and taken the crowd out of it in many ways.
Well, absolutely spot on, especially when it comes to this representative. They are about 7 to 8 captains, school captains in the ranks as well. All of them will want to make sure to make the country proud, but they are, end of the day, wearing that silver fern.
JP Clements has kept tight control of the proceedings as well, but he's let the game flow also.
Time on.
And Jared Percival will be the man who kicks off with the wind in front of him this time. Beautifully hoisted, and it was Nizar who took the first catch.
Release it!
A change has been made at fullback, and Pasudu Bandara has had a 40-minute debut as the old hand Srinath Surya Bandara comes on. An immediate touch for him. And this is Surya Bandara trying to get round Busby, but it's going to be a difficult one. Held up is the call, and the maul will probably go in favour of New Zealand. It's still moving.
It's not smart play. It's good from New Zealand getting up and under the ball. Again, good aggression. Fighting hard for every scrap of possession, this New Zealand side. I think Surya Bandara is going to shore up things for the Sri Lankan side at fullback. Take nothing away from Pasudu Bandara. It is a debut. He should be very proud of that. He was challenged on a number of occasions, especially with the long ball and the high ball.
The man who's come onto the field, Srinath Surya Bandara, is an absolute legend in this part of the world when it comes to the shorter format of the game, especially in the shorter format of the game. He has mercurial feet, brilliant step, and you
Steady.
can trust him to make a difference.
Crouch.
He will try to inject that pace into the Sri Lankan backline, which Sri Lanka will hope to do a little bit more in this second half.
Ben Scott hugging the left-hand touchline just under us here as Ephraim's finds Percival. Cutting back infield was Campbell Busby. Pasia Asiata carries the ball with both hands strongly into the tackle. Still going. And coming through was Nizar. Beautiful steal from him. Timed it perfectly. And Rifan, again, another perfect bit of timing from Josh Burton that time. Shahid Zumri, one of the crowd favourites here at Nittawela. Not Ratwatha. Stepping back infield was Srinath Surya Bandara. That trademark step that we've gotten so used to seeing in Sri Lanka rugby, and manages to win the penalty.
A number of good pieces of play in that passage. First, the clean out for New Zealand was outstanding, but I thought Nissan's timing exceptional. Got there, got on the ball. Sri Lanka, again, turning over possession. And we've mentioned Surya Bandara, what he might be able to do with the ball. Just showed composure. Exactly what Sri Lanka needed when they've got bonus ball to work.
Especially the experience that he brings onto the park. So Sri Lanka, opportunity for them. They need to try and take hold of these first 10 to 20 minutes of this second half if they want to try and cut down the deficit and put pressure on New Zealand. And like we mentioned, remember, the humidity is going to play. It's going to come at you, especially the larger players on the field. Sri Lanka will want to make sure that they get their speed in act.
Four-man line out. Tirina Bandara goes to the back. It's taken quickly off the top this time. This is better from Sri Lanka. Dahanvi Kamarachi smashing through the centre of midfield. Pasia Asiata helps to bring him down, but it takes three. Rifan, back of the hand from Srinath Surya Bandara. Big tackle by Ben Nixon on the Sri Lankan captain. Here's Johnny De Fernando. Carries straight and hard. Rifan, inside ball from one second row to another. Not embarrassing, but it's beautiful work over the top from Jared Dutoy. But not rolling away was the call. Dutoy was good, but the tackler wasn't.
Yeah, Lady could have got himself in trouble there as well. Remember, one yellow card already for Jack Leahy. It's good play from Sri Lanka, but I do think as the shot is called, they've missed a trick there. Backline not in position. So when they came back to the right-hand side, they had their big forwards, but they weren't in a position to take the ball up with any venom. And that was a problem because they could have had New Zealand stretched on the return.
Yeah, with Nigel being involved in the early infringement, it was difficult for them to try and get the distribution right. Sri Lanka being castled, they're lucky for them. They've gotten the penalty, and skipper Rathwat, they opting to go for points right in between the post.
Well, 26-10 psychologically reads a lot better than 26-7. It's probably what they're thinking. As Nittawela hushes, and it's good. You could see the crowd from behind the goalposts erupt there as the skipper puts it straight through the uprights.
And then dropping straight to forward. They have the
And the first score of the second half goes to Sri Lanka. It's only a three-pointer, but that won't matter.
Do it now.
It's going to be important that Sri Lanka dominates possession in these exchanges in the next couple of minutes. Because if you starve your opposition, especially this team who've gotten used to playing with the ball a lot,
complete?
if you starve them of possession, it'll be interesting how they will react to being starved of possession. Sri Lanka, you have seen when you have a couple of faces going at them, they've built up a lot of confidence.
Sri Lanka making a change in the front row, beautifully taken by Tirina Bandara, who goes down like a ton of bricks.
Oh, it was a clumsy challenge. It's going to result in a card. Asiata go to the bin for that. Yeah, he's got no complaints. Just got himself in a bad position.
Well, this is a big moment
Time
in
off,
the game.
Captain.
You can see that one again.
Captain.
Was just badly timed by Pasiata. There was no ill intent or malice there, but just got a bit clumsy.
Well, a couple of points to make is we'll have a listen to
There's
the referee
contact in the air, but my bigger issue is 3 penalties in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Number 9, clearly offside.
Yeah.
Number 4, not rolling, and taking the play out in the air.
So just
There's also,
question
please
with that one first.
communicate to the team.
No nonsense from JP Clements. The one thing I would say, Radwata's decision to take the kick. Remember, Sri Lanka still have a man in the bin. He's taking time out of the game. He's taking time out of that yellow card. You can see the way they deliberately walked to that last line out as well.
Well, they've decided to tap and go. Shahid Zumri dancing with those tap dancing feet of his. Straight over the top goes a New Zealand player. He has to get out of the way, which he does. Ratwata with a nice flat ball. Beautiful pass on from Tilina Bandara. And Navin Marasinghe. Jack Lady does well to get out of the way. Janidu now smashing into the tackle, but that looked like it might be a little neck roll as well. Surya Bandara puts the little chip kick in for Jayathu Rajaratne to chase. Well followed by Francis Morrison, and he has been the best New Zealand back in attack. And Petford now gets through the first line. He's got support, got to look for it though. Nice tackle by Kavindu Pereira, who gets across nicely. Francis Morrison, can he find Busby? Yes, he does. Shahid Zumri did well to shepherd, but in the end, Jared Percival. He will hold his head in his hands, the skipper. The try line at his mercy, and he dropped it cold.
Percival did not look very convincing when he got up. You can most times than not say
scrum
when the scorer comes up, he didn't look good.
In the field of play, scrum fight.
Oh, he knew straight away. Sabasane knew. And the work of all involved with ball in hand was so good from New Zealand. And look, the celebration had started before Percival got a chance to put the ball down, but the work once again of Francis Morrison. This time in combination with Campbell Busby. Percival knew, straight away he knew he'd drop.
Well, Francis Morrison has been a game breaker. Sri Lanka are making him look like Christian Cullen light here because he has been fantastic from the back, just counter-attacking and making sure he weaves himself away from would-be Sri Lankan defenders. Petford just couldn't find his support that time.
Scrum,
and if he did look inside, he might have just managed to run in a try.
Well, Percival doing the same thing that lost a player in the name of Rico Ioane, his All Black jersey. He wouldn't be too happy.
Crouch!
Sri Lanka with an opportunity to try and get out of trouble here.
Bad!
Here's a
sit!
Big scrum for Sri Lanka. They really need to make sure they give a solid platform for Ratwata to clear.
Oh, he's got very lateral off the back.
Well, he does manage to get beyond the 5 meters, the hand Wickramarachchi. Marasinghe, and they can run this one. It's a long pass. Jayathu Rajaratne stepping back in field, and Francis Morrison gets across to make a half challenge. It's just enough to stop the Sri Lankan winger. Tilina Bandara, but again he's isolated. Takes a bit of time for his support players to get to him. Nice long ball that time for Hiranta Pereira. Nice pass away to Kavindu Pereira as well. Just can't offload, but now they call for it. Ratwata stepping in, stepping out. They've held him up, they need to bring him down, and they managed to do that. Ratwata does well to lay it back. Now they need a playmaker, and Srinath Surya Bandara steps in. Lovely offload. Rifan screaming for it other forwards. And Senator Pereira has come onto the park.
Penalty advantage. Penalty advantage offside.
For Sri Lanka.
Tilina Bandara, and that ball comes off the hand of Tom Rolland. So they will get a penalty, Sri Lanka. They need to take this quickly. And now the fatigue, Scotty, may be starting to show in the defensive line.
Well, showing in the attack as well. Sri Lanka's down on their haunches too. But the game is being played at breakneck pace. Remember, Sri Lanka have the one-man advantage at the moment as well. So New Zealand are having to do the heavy lifting defensively. Sri Lanka starting to stretch left and right. But the big ball carriers are doing the damage. Can they find the balance now? That is the question for me. One thing to see the big carriers, the bump-offs, but that has got to be in order to create space to be used by the likes of Nigel Ratwata and his backline cohort.
Sri Lanka also trying to lift the pace up as well, and in the second half they are privy to the fact that the Kiwis are losing a little bit of pace. They are fatiguing up, so Sri Lanka trying to get the fresh blood earlier on in the second half. We saw a couple of the big boys coming onto the field. I think they are trying to hit them with pace and power early in the second half.
Scotty makes an excellent point, Sudarshan, that the bump off is not just an end in itself. It's not enough to just smash into the would-be tackler and make sure you cross the gain line. It has to be with the intention of giving quick ball and creating space, and that's what Sri Lanka needs to get better at doing.
Starting to make the changes as well, the Kiwis, as we have a look at the end of this play. Rita, he is a big man, and he takes two defenders out on the play, but Francis Morrison there, he's still actively involved, stays on his feet, so he's an option defensively on the next play if it goes out to the
penalty, number 11 offside.
It's a good lesson for young Sri Lankan players watching. Make sure even if you get into that ruck, that you don't lose your feet, that you make sure you stay in the defensive line and you're still useful to your team. So many learnings to pick up from this excellently professional New Zealand team, for not just for the Sri Lankan team itself, for their video preparation for the next game, but for everyone watching.
Numbers.
If they have the fitness, Sri Lanka, now's the time to use it. Now is the time. New Zealand are fatigued. They're a man down. This is when Nigel has to stand up. Say to the team, what's our plan? I know it. Come with me. Let's go.
Nice call in the line out from Tirana Bandara. Takes 2 steps forward, 2 steps back.
Use it!
But the maul is going sideways at a rate of knots. And this time, Shamika Kaushan goes away. But
advantage lost forward.
The ball is Ben Scott.
Lost forward.
But it's been knocked on. Kanuja Jayavira now goes with Johnny the Fernando, latched on to him.
It's a good tackle from Leite.
Nigel Ratwata opts for the drop goal, but Jack Leite was in his way.
Here. Lost forward.
Oh, I don't mind it from Ratwata. He knew he had penalty advantage, trying something. If Sri Lanka are the next team to score, they could come home in this final 25-30 minutes and really start to put some damage on this New Zealand.
Okay?
It's going to be interesting. Yes, if Sri Lanka is the next team to score, but Sri Lanka has have a long way to go. They need to make sure these big men get in on the act and make sure that they keep supporting the advances. The big men of Sri Lanka are going to hold the key here, Shanik, especially when it comes to breaking that defensive line, sucking that defense in, opening up those gaps for the speedy backs to try and exploit.
Beautiful city of Kandy. What an amazing place this is. I had the benefit of visiting the Buddha today, and I think walk up the hill through Kandy, through the old town, past the temple and museum, round the lake. It is a joy to be in Kandy.
Great to hear. It's Sudarshana's hometown, so he's beaming from year to year. Dahan Vikramarachi goes right. Rifan dummies. Rifan goes. Dragged down in a good tackle by Ben Megson. Vikramarachi is there though to pick up and go.
Very tight in midfield here. They've got to stretch the New Zealand defence.
It's got to be quick ball here. Rifan desperate for it. Oh, and Senera Pereira just mistimes that run. It was a right angle, but not the right timing as Francis Morrison now looks to run it out of trouble.
Knock on advantage.
It's like they might have made a change. New Zealand under 85s at number 9.
I think they're just trying too much on the collision side of things here, Sri Lanka. I think they've got the balance wrong on the plate. They're looking to have a contest, a physical contest. But you could see there they were concertinaed in midfield. They didn't stretch the New Zealand defence. Didn't have a second line in operation, so could not get the ball wide. New Zealand can mark up on that all day long because they don't get stretched defensively. They can keep their connection and they can make the double team tackle that's required to put the likes of Pereira on the ground.
And also around the fringes, New Zealand have been very clever, not committing too much man, which has helped them to hold that defensive formation and the pattern. Sri Lanka, like you mentioned, will be looking to use that second line of attack, second wave of attack to try and keep the New Zealand defense second guessing.
So often we play a team made up largely of Caucasians that are smaller than us, sumos. So that's why the Sri Lankans may be getting a rush of blood to the head, wanting to get their own back a little, but they need to make sure that they don't allow that to happen either. Smashing into the tackle was Gellert.
Yeah, on Rifan as well. He's picked on the smallest bloke on the field. He's had a strong game nonetheless.
And it's that has come on in place of Ben Ephraim's. And he will operate at the base. Another replacement. Lewis Craig looks like he's come on.
Play on, balls out.
The Scotsman in the silver fern jersey. This man has been doing plenty of work today, Ben Megson.
It's outstanding.
Oh, Gellert with a lovely dummy, bringing Petford back into play, and he bumps off a couple. Takes play into the 22. Burden, Roland. Oh,
Backwards!
They
Backwards!
get in each other's way, but it's not knocked forward. Referee waves play on. Percival. Just short of the 22. Smashing onto it that time.
Fraser Harrison fresh in the field.
And now the long ball. Here's the danger man, Francis Morrison. Still going, but Shahid Zumri has his number. Good defense from the youngster. Caudle Hull looks right, but he's got a bit of an open blind side. Purden. At numbers on the left, but they go right. Here's Gellert again.
Don't milk it.
He has been tough today.
No.
Yes, he certainly has. Oh, that's a lovely show and go, Roland. Good clear out that time, and Caudle Hull has numbers on his right. Sri Lanka's defense is desperate. Tirina Bandara getting up quickly to
have the ball, take the
Francis
ball.
Morrison off.
You can't do that.
And
Oh, they must have felt desperately
You have the ball,
unlucky.
take
I
the
thought
ball.
Pereira had
No
rights to
attempt
the
to play the ball.
I thought that was going to go the other way.
I'm so busy over here, and you have a player
It
down.
must have been millimetres.
Oh, Hirata Pereira will be very disappointed that didn't go
Nigel,
his way, but unfortunately
You
for
have
Sri
the
Lanka,
ball, take the ball, don't milk the penalty, and then your
Sri
player
Lanka
tackle
really
the arm.
manning up on defense.
Well, interesting conversation from referee
I'll be
JP.
there
If
soon.
you have the ball, take the ball. Just don't keep it locked. But from our angle, it looked like he was trying his level best to try and rip that ball.
I mean, that's a bizarre interpretation
watch
to
off.
me. Either you have rights to the ball
No need.
or you don't. And according
Shot.
to the law, Pereira
Shot a
had
goal,
rights
Captain.
to the ball. He can't take it out. It doesn't matter. In fact, the fact that he can't get the ball out would suggest that it should be his penalty. I mean, it's an extraordinary suggestion that he's tried to milk a penalty in that environment.
Well, this Nittawela crowd, a few of them with their heads in their hands, they're used to seeing their team winning. Here's Hiranta Pereira. Francis Morrison gets tackled by Tirina Bandara, and he gets in there.
That's fun.
And he's
Bring
trying
him
to
on.
lift. I mean,
Some
for all
blood
money, I
substitution.
think he's trying to lift there.
I'm
He
still
can't
waiting
get the
for
ball
this.
out because he's been taken in
We're
the
still waiting
tackle
for the blood
of
substitution.
Fraser Harrison, the Auckland squid, University squid. He's
Sri
fresh on
Lanka
the
ready?
field.
Hiranta Pereira will talk about that one for a while, I'm sure. And Jared Percival just having a chat.
Penalty.
Now that he's got
Playing
fresh
the arm.
legs off the bench as well. We've got Peter Swartz.
Scrum.
No relation to Bali Swartz, you would think.
Yeah, he's got an extra X on his name. But yeah, South African background. Peter Swartz. And of the East Coast Bays Club. The Badgers, as they're known, and my favourite team name of all, and the team names become quite the discussion in the New Zealand 85 grade, but two in the Morrinsville Majestic Pukekos, and for Sri Lankans a Pukeko is a swamp hen. So the Majestic Pukeko out of Morrinsville, home of Dwayne Sweeney, a long-time Chiefs Super Rugby player, New Zealand Māori player. He's watching the game. He's proud of his two clubmates, Simon Sear and Lewis Craig.
Black pushing early.
I thought the slug collectors were also an interesting occupation, Sumo. Auckland University slug collectors and the Squids, two clubs. New Zealand conceding the short arm penalty. And Sri Lanka looking to go quickly.
Penalty
Adam
only.
Marasinger, the big
Advantage,
man,
hard tackle.
taking Jack Leahy with
Hard
him.
tackle.
Oh, the penalty count has climbed, hasn't it? It's time for a high tackle.
Sri Lanka
Number
will be
15.
delighted at the fact that except for that 3 points that they've scored in the second half, scores haven't been troubled from the New Zealand, and they will want to make sure that they keep it that way and to try and get to the opposition territory. Nigel's touch finder is on the halfway mark.
Well, they needed a bit of a reprieve, didn't they? Needed to get a little bit of a easy passage into the opposition half. Hiranta Pereira carrying strongly into that tackle.
Yeah, just stood a bit too tall on the tackle, Francis Morrison, which in the modern game is a recipe for disaster. There was too much in it, but to the letter of the law, the right decision made again.
Shamika Kaushan goes right to the back, and Tirina Bandara has been very good today in the line-out. Senator Pereira in midfield. Asiata is back in the midfield defense, shoring it up. Tirina Bandara. Rifan now. Gives it to Tanuja Jayavira. Needs some mates with him. New Zealand have been smaller, but their technique has been superior in these tackles. Janidu Fernando looks for Ratwata. Looks for Surya Bandara. Really good drift tackle from Bedford there. Cutting back infield is Nigel Ratwata. He's got to do the heavy lifting himself now. They want him in the pivot position, not under the ruck. Senator Pereira. That's fine. Those hands again.
Now danger because they've got 3 forwards out here in New Zealand. They could take advantage of this.
Francis doesn't give it out this time. But Josh Gillett now goes straight through. Looks for the offload. Couldn't find Swartz, but does find Ben Scott. Gordon Hall. Roland. Just short of the 22. Sri Lanka defending for their lives, but a nice show and go, and it's Asiata once again stepping back in field, and Jared Percival regathers and scores. He will want to make amends for the one he dropped by the corner flag, and you can see his relief as he manages to not cough it up a second time.
Oh, the Light Bears will be losing it. High school old boys out of Christchurch, fantastic club. The captain's over, he's spilt one already, almost came up with a second. But he's managed to regather and dive under the post. Sri Lanka got themselves in all sorts on attack. They had tight head props and locks. It was Bandara and Marasinga and Jayawira who were standing out. There was no back line to work with on attack. Then they got shortened up on defence as well. And New Zealand coming back in, making them work into the centre of the park. And the angles of the runs today, outstanding. That's a great play from Percival. Support lines have been outstanding. And Percival back to his feet under the bar. That is a super score for the Blacks.
The New Zealand skipper will be absolutely delighted that he's managed to
break,
get one.
Captain. Water break now, okay?
Quarter break here at
Nigel, water break now.
Time to get some hydration in for both the teams and for Sri Lanka to try and re-get themselves.
Well, the break has come at a good moment for Sri Lanka because New Zealand had all the momentum before that score, and they will want to slow things down a little bit, get into the opposition half and see whether they can stay in that half for a while, play the territorial game. The Lion has maybe lost a little bit of its mojo, and the Sri Lankan crowd looks a little worried despite wearing the black jersey.
If you were to ask me if I just arrived at the stadium and to point out the most tired team out there, I would have to say Sri Lanka at the moment. I think their pack has worked really hard, but you can see the way they're walking into position. You can see the way they're taking lazy options in the offensive line, standing in positions. They know the ball's not coming to them, trying to take their breath. Got to work harder against this New Zealand pack. They're bending the line with good carries, but where's the next carry? Where's the next one-off play? When's the next ball carry option? And that's a big problem at the moment for Sri Lanka. New Zealand are able to play the rope-a-dope here. They are able to withstand the pressure. The first thing they do is click into transition. And their loose forwards in particular, the likes of Purdon, Gillett and Asiata, have been superb at getting on the shoulder of the transition offence today.
Absolutely, and I think that's why when you see Nigel Ratwat, they're having to carry the ball into attack so many times. You know, the forwards are not positioning themselves at the correct position, and that is affecting Sri Lanka, and that is making work so very easy for their opposite numbers.
I was down at the warm-ups before I had to fight my way up here into the commentary box, guys, and I can tell you they may be under 85 kilos, but you're looking at about 82, 83 kilos of muscle there, so there's not a lot to give in terms of what they give away in strength, in size.
You're clearly off your feet.
Rajaratnam
You're off your
almost
feet.
with a spectacular steal, but Senator Pereira, one of those big men that Scotty mentioned, has been giving a few penalties away.
Clearly off your feet, support your body
about
weight.
this team too is a lot of them come from very hard-working backgrounds, sheep farmers and builders and firefighters, so they're accustomed to physical work. And that point made earlier in the game, they're not going to be frightened by playing a team the size of Sri Lanka because they've all been in those environments before in their own club rugby, schoolboy rugby. But I think for Sri Lanka, they've looked for that fight. and the fight wasn't there to have.
It's about adversity, isn't it? Coming up against it and making your way around it or through it or over it. And I think Scotty's being polite. He says that these are not spoilt elite rugby players. These are guys who love a scrap and make sure that they get on the right side of it. As Josh Gillett goes away, drops his shoulder into the tackle of Tanuja Jayavira.
Magnificent game from Gillett today.
He really has been fantastic, as most sevens in a black jersey are. Caudle Hull now gives it to Jack Lady. Sister Hannah cheering from back home for sure. Here's a replacement, and it's like Fraser Harrison has made a couple of telling contributions since he come back on the park, and that's a good turnover surely from Vedarakoda. Got a referee says no, play on.
Second time Sri Lanka have been very, very unlucky with that turnover because he had all the right to the ball.
Kamindu Pereira has been excellent on defense, but Petford has been equally good on attack.
Maxon this time just couldn't control it. The only player in the side out of the Grammar Tech Club, famous merger of clubs in Auckland City. The Grammar Club, home to a number of former All Blacks, Teachers Eastern and Carlton, the three clubs that have merged to form G-Tech. Big hello to Stu Hardy, who'll be watching the game, proud of one of his club's alumni here. Play was on. Bedford just couldn't pop that up enough.
Black, you have to hold your weight.
Bedford
Hold your weight.
Crouch! The first receiver position here wants to come up quickly on Nigel Ratwatha. It's the only thing I can think of for him standing in Percival's position.
I've really done a disservice to Megson as well. There's Eamon Riley, of course, who passed it.
Eamon Riley on at 22. Megson is off. Sorry, 23 is Peter Swartz, who's gone into the second 5'8" position. I think you call it in your part of the world, Scotty.
That's right.
First center here where we come from. It's a wonderful tackle, a wonderful run, but spilt the ball. Here's Harrison. Lovely ball from him. Eamon Riley, and that's a lovely offload as well. Francis Harrison will get over. But what superb play from Eamon Riley.
How about that for a first touch?
Well, there's so much to love about that play, and there's been so much to love about Francis Morrison today. They're pretty pumped up in the crowd. Families here watching. Morrison is Captain Twinkle Toes, and he deserves a try today. He's been setting them up for everyone else. Today he just stays in support. Eamon Riley, it was a wonderful line. Made sure he stayed straight. So often in that situation, the ball receiver here, as we have a look again, Morrison sets the pass. Now just look at the straightened line there. That creates the gap on the outside for Morrison to come around and take the final pass.
Again, for any young player watching, Francis Morrison made the pass. He was infield. He was nearly where the upright was. He had to make a good 25 meters to get around on the outside of Eamon Riley, and he made those meters look really easy. Popped up on the outside and just had to fall over for the score. Brilliant offload as well from Swartz.
Slight drizzle now, approaching the grounds. It's less than 20 minutes to go in this game.
So it looks like Jared Percival has given way in terms of kicking duties to Tane Caudle Hull. Janitha Fernando came onto the pitch early when Vimuthi Gamage had to go off, and now there's been a change at fly half as Dinesh De Silva comes on. Nigel Rapata has stayed on the field though. We'll have to see who Dinesh De Silva has come on for. Caudle Hull, and now a little bit of space opening out for Schwartz. That's a lovely flat ball to Ben Scott, but bundled into touch.
Great defensive work by Janitha Rajaratnam that time, making full use of the touchline. And Sri Lanka will have to try and focus on moments of brilliance like that to try and capitalize, stick a couple of them together and they might be in that in goal.
Josh Galit calling line out time. Well, it's a fraught time for Sri Lanka
Step
here.
back.
There's still 15 minutes plus
Step
to
back.
go in the game. 6 tries to 1. And New Zealand have the advantage here. 38 points to 10. The last thing they'll want here is a blowout scoreline at the end of this game.
Yes, they certainly need to get some points on the board. Few positional shifts in Sri Lanka's backline. Srinath Surya Bandara has gone to 9. Mohammad Rifan has gone off. Nigel Ratwatha goes to fullback, and Dinesh De Silva and
Number 4,
Suresh
get out.
Chavikrama
Get out,
at
boys,
10
get out.
and 12. Again, pretty slow ball coming back from that. Jack Leahy uses those long
offense,
arms of his
offside.
to go over the top, but offside is the call.
Also, he
From the
did have
side.
his hands on the ground as well. Sri Lanka with an opportunity, a penalty in a very interesting position. Attacking line out, they can get with Silva finding touch. The
Thanks,
ball
Alex.
has been effective, but the recycling of the ball and the continuity has been the problem for Sri Lanka.
Don't swing around. Don't swing.
Natai Walker will be happy with this performance so far from the New Zealand team. They've not had a lot of time together, but they've been pretty cohesive.
Have you lost it? Yes, of course. Yes. Do you have it? Of course.
Managed to catch up with the New Zealand coach
He's
at
just getting
breakfast
his
this
mouth
morning,
guarded,
and he's just so
Time off.
excited about coming away with this team,
Time off.
and rejuvenated too in a sense, because these men all have interests outside the game. So when they've come together as a group, they've been able to gel very quickly through other shared experiences, not necessarily because they're all on the same pathway to professional rugby, but because they come into the environment and they've got passions outside the game. They can share those and they can tell their stories. And that connection piece is so important, both in our Māori culture in New Zealand. Natai Walker, of course, Māori in terms of his heritage. And it's crucial for this team to connect quickly, and it looks like they've done just that.
Srinath Bandara again with the catch. The centre of the ball. Leahy again making a nuisance of himself. Clearly had a chat to his
Through the middle. Use it.
brother-in-law's brother, Scott Barrett, about how to disrupt noise, and it's nicely done by New Zealand. Got into the right place at the right time.
Brilliant work by Leahy that time. He was came through the gate, lashed onto the ball, and he knew he was not going to let that one go. Sri Lanka getting that forward momentum, but not securing the ball. It's absolutely important that you try and get it through the back of the ball, where you have options on either side of the field. But Leahy taking a big one there, but he's putting his hand
Bring
up.
him on. Number 10. Number 10. Number 10,
Also
Black
on in
Clement.
jersey number 17 on the loose head side of the
Number
New Zealand
10, Black.
scrum. We're seeing probably the final substitution being made. Lewis Craig for Jared Percival.
Blood replacement.
Yeah, why not? Put a loose forward on for a first 5/8.
While-
They've got cover out there
While
already
we wait.
with Eamon
While
Riley
we
and
wait,
Tane Cordell
let's
Hull.
make sure we don't
Many
overlean.
players in this team
Okay, maintain
play
that space
different
from behind.
positions, and a
We'll
lovely
wait for the
gesture
ball.
to the
I'll
crowd
watch
from
it,
the
I'll
New
watch
Zealand
it.
captain.
Yeah, it's lovely to see. Making the
Time
Anjali
back on.
Mudra as it's called
Scrum.
here, putting their hands together in
Come
front of
closer.
the traditional
Closer,
greeting
what?
here in Sri Lanka. Namaste.
Big scrum. Crouch.
Lovely touch from the New Zealand skipper.
Bud. Sit.
Since his first try, Pasi Asiata has been a little quiet. Straight up and at him was Sudesh Jayavikrama, smash back a tackle. Shahid Zumri held in the tackle by Ben Scott, but the referee's got his arm up for an advantage. It's 2 knock-ons as it's all over the place. Referee's got to call it back surely.
Opportunity now for Sri Lanka scrum. Just 5 meters out from that whitewash. Crowd will now get behind the team. They will want to make sure that they take the correct decisions here. Remember,
Closer.
it's a largely new set of forwards, so they need to be prepared for that shove that will come from the opposite end.
Got to have a strike play up their sleeve here. The scrum position is so good for Sri Lanka. but I'm fascinated to see how they're going to unleash something. Jaya Wickrama, for me, has so much on his shoulders right now. This backline has to fire. You'd love to see first or second phase. Try scored for Sri Lanka.
Jaya Wickrama is going to receive the ball at first receiver, I'm sure. Srinath, oh dear, oh dear. Cannot afford to give those mistakes away.
Brand new first row. Thabit.
Pushing early.
Vendrakodagoda pushing early and giving it away, squandering that opportunity for Sri Lanka.
Nice strike off his left boot. Eamon Riley given the task now of navigating this team across the park after Jared Percival did a sterling job for the first 65 minutes.
Out of the Ponsonby Club back in Auckland City, another famous rugby club. New Zealand's maybe the most famous of all, B.G. Williams, Sir Brian Williams.
Chatara Soisa, Brian Williams, one of the greatest wingers ever to wear a New Zealand shirt. Niza, who's been at the bottom doing some of the work that nobody likes to do. Vendrakodagoda again isolated. Finally gets Senra Pereira on his shoulder. Dinesh De Silva, good ball there for Chatara. And now it's a little bit more urgent from Sri Lanka in the dying moments of this game. Senra wins one collision, but not the second, as Matt Treeby drives him back. Slow ball, Dinesh De Silva. Shahid Zumri, it's a standing start. And that's a beautiful behind the back offload, but it's too good even for the recipient, Kavidu Pereira.
Forward first.
Zumri has been eyeing that all this game, but Kavidu Pereira wasn't privy to that. But in inclusion of Surya Bandara to that number 9 position has brought in a little bit of urgency, which Sri Lanka would have preferred a little earlier on in this game,
come closer.
Given the fact that their backs.
I have you over leaning on Barn. I need you to maintain your weight and set your pushing early.
Minute one has
because you're over leaning on Barn. Get your feet closer, below the hips, and keep the space.
We play that at a very, very slow pace. And it's not like training as well. You need to train fast, you need to train intensely, you need to train under the conditions you're going to get at the game, which means you're going to get a second less in your breakdown, you're going to get a second less in your tackle, you're going to get much closer contests in your lineouts. All these things Sri Lanka are going to have to fix in just 6 days' time.
And the whole grade in New Zealand, everything you consider, it is played at breakneck speed. The game is designed and set up for adventurous play, for fast play, for quick ruck ball. So that's what this New Zealand under-85s team is accustomed to. Good scrum too.
Gordon Hull, Eamon Riley with a lovely bullet straight across diagonally, and Nigel Rathpatha is forced to go back. He has Kavidu Pereira with him, and under enormous pressure, Kavidu manages to clear. Francis Morrison, who has had an excellent game today, hands off to Peter Schwartz. Nice tackle by Kavidu once again, following his own kick.
Leave it what?
Slow ball, but they won't mind that at this stage of the game as Matt Treeby carries it forward. Gellert still flying onto that ball just as he was in minute 1. Riley, Purden, these two flankers have been excellent today.
Haven't they just? Unbelievable shift.
Ben Scott wasn't expecting it, but manages to make some yards. Cutting back infield. New Zealand just wanted to keep possession with them, and here's Lewis Craig.
It's death by 1,000 cuts at the moment for Sri Lanka.
Bedford recovering from his shoulder injury, still going. Putting his head down, Simon Sia. Caudle Hull. So that's a beautiful show and go from Eamon Riley. Manages to find Francis Harrison, unselfishly gives it away to Pasia Asiata, and he scored in the first few minutes of the game. And it's been a long while coming, but he scored again.
Just magical work coming in and doing that. Asiata might have touch that down, but it was Riley who did the magic in the middle.
Well, it was just solid play. Dragging defence in. Riley was biding his time. He was waiting for the opportunity where he could see his moment. This was it. Caught flat-footed. Again, they've shortened up the pack who are defending in the back line for Sri Lanka. They have done for most of the match. It shouldn't be there. That's not your defensive play in that situation. And the loose forward trio for New Zealand has been sensational today. 6, 7 and 8. Put a blanket over them. If you're giving out gongs, they all deserve one.
Certainly will. You have to speak about the unselfishness of Francis Morrison as well. He's really created beautifully today. Selfless team man. High work rate.
Kick.
It's kind of stuff that Ben Smith used to bring to the All Blacks. That kind of intelligence, that kind of work rate. As Caudle Hull pushes this one across the face of the post. So no extra points. It's 43 points to 10. It's looking ominous for Sri Lanka unless they can really pull something together and play for the pride.
The DJ's kicked off again, so he's going to keep the party going. That's one thing we can say. Nittawela's not going to empty out just yet. They want to see this right to the final whistle.
Well, as you said, 6, 7 and 8 for New Zealand has been absolutely wonderful, and it's time that we start a discussion about the Commercial Bank Player of the Match. Plenty of players have really put their hands up, but the 6, 7 and 8 for New Zealand have been absolutely wonderful.
He's still going, isn't he, Pasya Asiata? And the box kick coming from Caudle Hull. Some honourable mentions certainly as number 23, Peter Swartz, keeps going.
Advantage of side.
And Caudle Hull gets bundled into touch, and the whole back row, as Scotty said, if they were going to get a man of the match each,
17 offside.
they'd have to get it as a trio. Also, there's been Ben Mexon, who put in a hell of a shift. And then Francis Morrison, who has been pretty much everywhere in what New Zealand has done well on attack. So we'll leave it to our visitor, Sudarshana. Scotty Stevenson
don't
to
put
pick.
that pressure on me. Shalika, that's too much. I would say it's one thing to look at the camera time player, and probably the most obvious, Francis Morrison today. He's certainly got the personal individual highlights reel. But he works on the back of others' hard work, and he has been selfless, as you've already mentioned, Shanaka. But the fact that Galit is still going here in the 75th minute, as is Purdon, who's been a weapon, as Galit gets the ball again, and Asiata still scoring tries. Look at the work rate and the effort still getting put in by those guys.
Oh yeah, I'm used to playing the third row myself, Scotty, so you don't need to sell this to me. Here's Simon
Backwards! Backwards!
Caudle Hull throwing that expansive dummy. Treby. Here he is, Purdon, one of the men that's what he's been talking about, still going. Oh, that's a beautiful ball. What a line. What a line from Francis Morrison.
He's not held to place.
Incredible. Morrison delivering from all corners. He's led New Zealand at the start, and he's leading them through the game. Absolute terrific stuff.
Talked about his touch background. I mean, that's straight out of the playbook. Saw the hole, chose the line. It was a beautiful angled run. No one was stopping him. Hit the ball at pace, hit the ball on the line. That is a textbook play from New Zealand's outstanding fullback.
Oh, he has been fantastic. He saw it here. Started his run. Made the call now. Just one quick look from Caudle Hull. He saw it and just had to put it in the gap for Francis Harrison to run onto. We saw a bit of that yesterday, didn't we? The combination between the fullback and the scrum half for Trinity College, between Udan Vijayakun and Sean Altaf. But this is the kind of play that just shows the understanding between players.
It's brilliant stuff from New Zealand, and with that conversion, that's a half ton here at Nittawela. It's just 3 minutes to go in this game.
Repeat that, Delroy.
Sri Lanka, it's nice to see the Tuskers again jogging their way back. They want to have as much time as they possibly can, and that's a very good sign for Sri Lanka.
Well, they're certainly not hanging their heads, Sri Lanka, and that's to their credit. They may have conceded a half century of points, but they've done it while trying their darndest.
Let it come, Black, let it come.
Surya Bandara.
8 tries for the Kiwis today. Sri Lanka, you'd love to see a final flourish here. Give this crowd something to celebrate.
So we've got a commercial bank player of the match, Scotty. And since you've
No, get out! Get out!
since Sudarshan and I do it every day, we'd like you to do the honours.
Oh, it's a very tough call for me, but today, look, Francis Morrison has looked great. 2 tries for him. Asiata with 2 tries as well, but I think the glue that's held this team together, and it was a tough choice between this man and Josh Purdon, but I'm going the other Josh. Josh Gillette today is my Commonwealth Bank
the game?
commercial
That's
bank
game over, boys.
player of the match.
Well, the 2 Joshes have covered themselves in glory, and New Zealand have made themselves a 50 points to 10 runners-up winners in this first test against Sri Lanka. The New Zealand under-85s playing their first match as a representative team. They may not like it, but they are the small blacks, and the Nittawela crowd has engulfed them completely.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The end result is in. It wasn't to be for the Sri Lankan Tuskers.
Well, it was a 50-point drubbing, but you wouldn't look at it. You wouldn't think it looking at the way the crowd has reacted. Pasia Asiata getting congratulations from a member of the crowd. New Zealand under-85s in their first match as a representative team, as a team that have been awarded the Silver Fern, the highest honour in Aotearoa. And it is a fitting start to their campaign as weight class ambassadors.
26 points to 7 at half-time. New Zealand led the Tuskers. Tuskers got back into the match. They scored first in the second spell. Shanaka. Penalty decided to take the penalty. 26-10 at that point. And then from that point on, it was a procession of New Zealand tries. Percival, Morrison, Asiata, and Morrison again. And those 4 second-half tries ensuring New Zealand crossed the 50-point mark in this first and historic fixture.
I did think that Sri Lanka would come in with something a little bit more fortified in the second half, especially when they got that first 3. But unfortunately, New Zealand too professional, too good, too intense, too fast. And Sri Lanka will have a lot to go back to the drawing board and discuss when they come back at Racecourse for the second of these 2 test matches. But it has been a wonderful event, and this is what rugby is all about. You said earlier it's not so much a professional game as it is a soul game, Scotty, and that's what it's about. It's about friendships. It's about making sure that you tell each other the stories that bind you together.
Well, if this is the soul of Sri Lankan rugby right here in Kandy today, the people who have turned up, the fans, the families, the passionate supporters of the game, then the world needs to pay attention to Sri Lanka. This is a nation that needs to be invested in, to be treasured and cherished and supported. They have big ambitions for rugby. Shanaka, you know that better than most. And look at the scenes here today. Evidence right here in full colour, thanks to the Papare, that rugby is alive and well and thriving in this part of the world. Forget the scoreboard. It's not about that today. Today was about bringing the community out, bringing them together, and treating them to something that was truly a spectacle of the game.
It truly was. And if this isn't an invitation for New Zealand to really extend their helping hand towards building Sri Lanka rugby, this sleeping giant, one of the biggest player bases next to Japan in Asia, and a team that would love to be on the cusp of World Cup qualification. We have a lot of friends, Scotty, you and I both, who are watching this game in New Zealand, who would really be excited by what they've seen here. Jared Percival at the second time of asking managers to go over for the first try.
Yeah, converted the try as well. Eamon Riley had a couple of great touches. That step off the left to set up Francis Morrison on the wraparound. That was the first of his second half tries. Asiata, brilliant again alongside Gallett and Purdon. Scampered over. That was his second try. He got the scoring underway early in the first half. And Morrison had the final say. just a beautiful line. I think some of the rugby intellect on show from New Zealand today has been impressive considering the short period of time they've had to get.
Yes, they've managed to read each other's minds, haven't they? As we look at the statistics from today's game, as Scotty said, doesn't matter what the scoreline is. New Zealand running out convincing winners 50 points to 10. But Sri Lanka looked a little closer than that scoreline would suggest. 8 tries to 1 conversion and 5 conversions to the New Zealanders. 1 penalty goal from Nigel Rathpathe, and the player of the match, the number 6, it was just a hair's breadth between Josh Burton and Josh Gillett. But in the end, it looks like Josh Burton is the man who has been given it. But I think it might have been a tie up here in the commentary box between the two Joshes. So the first representative test match that the New Zealand under-85s have played. It was a big campaign to make sure they got their silver fern from New Zealand rugby and recognize this class of rugby, which means that it opens up the doors for a lot of people, amateurs in this game, Scotty, to be able to play rugby at a representative level and not just have to live in the gym, to be able to still go to their jobs, come back and play some good rugby like we've seen here today.
And it's such a positive thing for the grade. We want to keep people connected to the game, and we mentioned during the broadcast, Shanaka, the age difference in this team. Youngest at 20 years of age, the eldest at 39. That's 19 years of rugby experience staying in the game. If our 20-year-olds out here today can keep playing, can keep striving to represent their country, they will stay in the game till they're 35, 36, 39. Hey, what's to say they don't stay in the game till they're 42, 44? The minister there, I'm sure he's enjoyed himself. Mr. Priyantha as well, who's been instrumental in making this event happen.
Priyantha Ekanayak, an absolute legend in Sri Lankan rugby, played some club rugby in New Zealand as well in his heyday. Other representatives from the government as well, from the central province, looking on and seeing what sports tourism has to offer as a revenue generator for Sri Lanka. And of course, this wonderful visiting contingent joining their family members.
Just a short shot there of Matt Treby's 2 sons. I had the pleasure of meeting them today. They're having a great time in Sri Lanka, as are all the families here following this tour. And of course we move on to the racecourse ground in Colombo for the next match on Saturday. And we would implore you, if you want the Tuskers to compete next week, turn up and be their 16th man, be their 24th man. Turn up to the racecourse ground, as we're sure the Colombo faithful will, and really cheer this team on. They will have learned a lot today. They will be smarter and better for it come Saturday in Colombo.
Well, Sanath Martis is a smart coach. He's going to take plenty away from this encounter, and it's going to change the way Sri Lanka train for sure. They've got to train shorter, they've got to train sharper, and they've got to be really on top of their game when they come to the racecourse to make sure that Colombo gets its money's worth as well. Lots of New Zealand jerseys in the crowd, as we spoke of during the broadcast. And some of them will be happy, some of them will have mixed emotions, because it is their team that is touring, their favorite international team, against their home team.
I reckon the toughest job in the field right now is trying to find a player to put a microphone in front of. I mean, the crowd has absolutely thronged the players out there, which would be a wonderful experience, I think, especially for the Kiwi kids who wouldn't have experienced this before at home. And believe me when I say this, there won't be a single member of this touring party that won't go home with the fondest of memories.
Would it be fair to say that for some of these under 85 players, Scotty, that this might be the biggest crowd that they've played in front of?
Oh, 100%, without a shadow of a doubt. And not just that, but representing their country. And they're all proud club men. We've mentioned some of the clubs out there today. Certainly Pakuranga and High School Old Boys out of Christchurch had played in that final, but Tawa, Ponsonby, East Coast Bays, Takapuna, my former club, also represented here today. So it's the breadth of the nation, it's the length of the nation, and I think an event like this certainly inspires others to form an under 85 class in their club if they can.
Rugby's big in Asia now. Asians, of course, not the biggest of people, so under 85 is certainly a window to what might be on offer in Asia to expand the teams that play at the highest level. You can see the crowd still enjoying themselves. And Sudarshana is standing over on the touchline with our player of the game.
Historic game, Commercial Bank player of the match, Josh Broden, absolutely brilliant stuff, mate. How was the game? What was your experience?
Well, it was absolutely incredible. The atmosphere here with all the fans is amazing. And, you know, I'd have to say full credit to the Sri Lankan team, man. They were absolutely outstanding. It was fun, fast rugby. It's exactly the brand we want to play here in New Zealand and Sri Lanka. And it's just an incredible opportunity to be able to play here.
Given that Sri Lanka had the size advantage when it comes to the weight, they had the weight advantage. The third rovers had to go on overdrive, and you had your work cut out. How was it like to match up with those bigger forwards from Sri Lanka?
Oh man, they were absolutely amazing with the ball. When they got on that front foot, we were scrambling and they just kept making meters. So, you know, full credit to them for keeping it up for the full 80 minutes. But yeah, really proud of our boys and the way they rallied and scrambled on defence.
We were told that it wasn't much time that you all had to come in together as a unit, but it did not show on the field. It was very cohesive. It was a brilliant work ethic from the team. How did that work plan out?
Yeah, you know, the group's been together, I think this is day 8. It's been an incredible week. New group of boys, we've never played together. It's been a real special trip coming here to Sri Lanka. Amazing, felt welcome. But yeah, we've just really bonded with the group, and I think that showed on the field.
I think the most difficult part that you had to handle here in the ground was the humidity throughout the game. How did you manage that? A lot of fluids would have gone into the system. How did you manage that?
I'd have to say I'm very grateful for that 20-minute drinks break in each half. Yeah, I mean, we're not used to this heat. It was seriously intense. But yeah, it makes it all the more cool to play in a different country, and yeah, Sri Lanka's been amazing.
Well, bad news is that in Colombo it's going to be a little bit hotter and a little bit more humid, but incredible stuff. Absolutely brilliant to have you guys here. Look forward to your next game.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks to Sri Lanka for having us, and we look forward to Colombo.
Brilliant. Your Commercial Bank player of the match, Josh Broden.
Thanks very much. Josh is a happy man today. Thanks very much, Sudarshana. And as we look over the crowds and into the mountains, this is the next match that we have for you. Sri Lanka taking on the New Zealand under-85s in the second test match, live on the 10th of May. That's kick-off under lights from the Racecourse Stadium. And I think the New Zealanders will be very happy that they won't be under the sun. But that also means that Sri Lanka have to be a little bit sharper, Scotty.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. They'll be going home the under-75s. You mentioned it during the commentary, but a hot afternoon's footy in Colombo, and that's going to shed some extra kgs. This is magnificent. I mean, you know, we're 20 minutes post full time, and there are still thousands of people on the field enjoying this moment. It is superb, and we know the people of Colombo will turn out in numbers to support the Tuskers and to support this tour, because surely this won't be the last time.
Certainly won't be, and we'll see you all in Colombo. From the commentary box from Scotty Sumo Stevenson, Sudarshana Piris, and myself, Shana Kamarasinghe, it's goodbye for now.
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Malaban Nutrifix cereal bars. the energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Hi තාත්තා.
කොහොමද ෂෑම් අද හොඳට ප්ලේ කළාද?
ඇයි සැකද?
එහෙ ගෑවුනත් මොකෝ හේ හේ සෙල්ලම් වැඩ බලන්නකෝ හේ හේ අද පැල්ලම් වේදුනත් මොකෝ සෙල්ලම් මගේ බලන්නකෝ
කිසි සැකයක් නෑ. වියලි තද පැල්ලම් වලට නව Surf Excel Matic දැන් SPP තාක්ෂණයෙන් පළමු මැෂින් වොෂ් එකෙන්ම වියලි තද පැල්ලම් ඉවත් කරයි.
ක්ලීන්ද?
ඇයි සැකද?
නව Surf Excel Matic.
Boss, you're the one who lifted this company to where it is today, ne? Your work is so well organized and your capability really shines through it.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Car Radials. The road is yours.
ලස්සන ෆන් ලෝකේ කොත්තුමි සැර විහිදේ කීතික සිත බ්‍රන්දවා කෙරේ ෆයිවන ෆැෂන් අපේ හීට් එක වැදේ වටේ hot and spicy gas මත්තේ මේ රසේ
dance එක hit වෙන්නේ move එක set වෙන්නේ
දිව ගැසෙවි දැන්නේ රසේ කොත්තුමි happening මේ රස්තට උඩ යන්නේ hot and spicy විසේ වගේ ප්‍රීමා කොත්තුමි ෆන් තමයි
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Malaban Nutrifix cereal bars, the energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Boss, you're the one who lifted this company to where it is today, ne? Your work is so well organized and your capability really shines through it.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Car Radials. The road is yours.
Hi තාත්තා.
කොහොමද ෂෑම් අද හොඳට ප්ලේ කළාද?
ඇයි සැකද?
එහෙ ගෑවුනත් මොකෝ හේ හේ සෙල්ලම් වැඩ බලන්නකෝ හේ හේ අද පැල්ලම් වේදුනත් මොකෝ සෙල්ලම් මගේ බලන්නකෝ
කිසි සැකයක් නෑ. වියලි තද පැල්ලම් වලට නව Surf Excel Matic දැන් SPP තාක්ෂණයෙන් පළමු මැෂින් වොෂ් එකෙන්ම වියලි තද පැල්ලම් ඉවත් කරයි.
ක්ලීන්ද?
ඇයි සැකද?
නව Surf Excel Matic.
Ah, boss, I got you some homemade milk toffee. Shall I bring it now? You know, no matter what others say, you are really important to us. I have never seen anyone care about the company as much as you do.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
car radials. The road is yours.
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Maliban Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Car radials. The road is yours.
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Maliban Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Car radials. The road is yours.
Mexican Russata Happiner, Munchy Savory Salsa. Cheesy Lover Slutter, Munchy Savory Cheese Button.
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Maliban Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Munchy wanna know it's savory rasa. Munchy is savory.
Ah, boss, I got you some homemade milk toffee. Shall I bring it now? You know, no matter what others say, you are really important to us. I have never seen anyone care about the company as much as you do.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Hamoma Asa, Onion Twister, Munchy Savory Onion. Mexican Russata Happiner, Munchy Savory Salsa. Cheesy Lover Slutter, Munchy Savory Cheese Button. Mexican Russata Happiner, Munchy Savory Salsa.
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Maliban Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Munchy wanna know it's savory rasa. Munchy is savory.
Car radials. The road is yours.
Hamoma Asa, Onion Twister, Munchy Savory Onion. Mexican Russata Happiner, Munchy Savory Salsa. Cheesy Lover Slutter, Munchy Savory Cheese Button.
Cricket, horse racing, football and more. SDBet.com, Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Play big, win big.
Hamoma Asa, Onion Twister, Munchy Savory Onion.
විහිළු නෙමේ ටෝකියෝ සුපර් ඕන වැටකට සුපර්.
Cheesy Lover Slutter, Munchy Savory Cheese Button.
Ah, boss, I got you some homemade milk toffee. Shall I bring it now? You know, no matter what others say, you are really important to us. I have never seen anyone care about the company as much as you do.
While you're working hard to earn your yearly bonus, save money with Commercial Bank's Power Bonus. Open an account with just 5,000 rupees and earn bonus interest every 3 months straight.
Munchie wanna know it's savory rasa. Munchie is savory. Munchie wanna know it's savory rasa. Munchie is savory.
හැමෝම ආස අනියන් ට්විස්ට් එක මංචි සේවරි අනියන්
Seat Car Radials. The road is yours.
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Malaban Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Mexican රසට හැපෙන මංචි සේවරි සල්සා
Munchie wanna know it's savory rasa. Munchie is savory.
cheesy lovers ලට මංචි සේවරි cheese buttons
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Malaban Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
හැමෝම ආස අනියන් ට්විස්ට් එක මංචි සේවරි අනියන්
Seat Car Radials. The road is yours.
Mexican රසට හැපෙන මංචි සේවරි සල්සා
Cricket, horse racing, football ඇතුළු තවත් ක්‍රීඩා රැසක්. STBet.com ලංකාවේ අංක එකේ betting site එක. වැඩියෙන් play කරන්න, වැඩියෙන් win කරන්න.
cheesy lovers ලට මංචි සේවරි cheese buttons
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Malaban Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Munchie wanna know it's savory rasa. Munchie is savory.
හැමෝම ආස අනියන් ට්විස්ට් එක මංචි සේවරි අනියන් Mexican රසට හැපෙන මංචි සේවරි සල්සා
Packed with nutritional grains for dynamic youth, giving you energy and high protein at any time of the day. Malaban Nutrifix cereal bars. The energy style for the youth lifestyle.
Cricket, horse racing, football and more. STBet.com, Sri Lanka's #1 betting site. Play big, win big.
cheesy lovers ලට මංචි සේවරි cheese buttons
Munchie wanna know it's savory rasa. Munchie is savory.
හැමෝම ආස අනියන් ට්විස්ට් එක මංචි සේවරි අනියන්